Hello and welcome to Spurs Kings TV. Have we got a show tonight for you? And it's the fallout from Newcastle. But Ash, are you well?
My brothers, yes, I'm good. We three kings, we four kings, kings and queens, big everyone at home. Let's get it on, man. Like, we've got a show for you today. And yeah, there's so much debate at the moment. There's a lot of negativity, I can't lie. But that always sparks up debate, man. I'm here for it, bro. I'm here for it.
Always sparks up debate. Let's bring out our guest, man, because this is what it's about. There's a lot of debate going. Do you know what? X has been literally everyone's been going at it, right? I haven't really been on Insta, so I don't even know if they're still going at it, but it's been back and forth. So let's bring some of that love to Spurs Kings TV tonight. First of all, right, he's been on hiatus. Where's he been? Hass, are you well?
I'm back for more pain. Back for more pain. What can I say? Nice to be back with the boys. Nice to be back. Yeah, what can I say? You know, it's been a while. Trying to catch up with it all still, but it's been good time away and just been handling my business. And yeah, man, here we are. So back again.
And let's bring out the other king, Deji. Deji, are you well?
Yes, my brothers, I am all right. I am well. Because I look ahead. You know what I mean? I think old age is starting to catch up with man, and I'm starting to see the bigger picture. And I think the future is bright. So for me, I've been seeing a lot of the madness going on. I've been part of the madness, people using me, cussing me. And I'm ready to go to war with them, to be honest with you. War on streams, war on road. I don't give a damn. I'm representing my club. Do you get me? And I know that my club is doing positive things. So if people don't like it, bite me. It's my answer to them. You get me? I love my club. Yeah.
And then the last guest, the man who brought me to streaming, the man who probably did a lot of stuff when his channel started up with him as well. We actually owe him quite a bit, actually, when we think about it. He's always been there for us, right? And whenever him and Ash can get together, he's been, it's a great show. But let's bring out the main man. A lot of people have been asking him, where is he in the chat? Sava.
That was far too much.
Mate, we have to do it when you're on. We always,
Marmite is here. I was.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I agree with Saba because I was slightly offended when you said main man.
Do you know what? Do you know what will happen is look, I'm glad that you brought me here to school Deji on facts and not feelings.
School me, mate.
But when we're going to be talking about the main man, listen, if you're just going to go on to shows and spout nonsense about slapping everyone up, you're not going to be. But Hass, love you, dude. Long time no see. And I'm coming to yours on Thursday for lunch.
Yeah. Your table's all booked, brother. Your table's all booked.
Good man. I'm looking forward to tonight when I heard Deji was on because I love Deji. I think watching Deji is really fun. And everyone's always like, "Oh, do you have beef with Deji?" I was like, "I don't know." As far as I'm aware, I ain't got any beef with Deji. I just find his opinions really funny. So I'm sure we'll get into it.
Likewise. I don't have any beef with you, Saba. I think you're great. I don't actually care. You know what I mean? But you
do you know what we should do, Deji?
So it's all good.
We should have a show, right? We should have a show once a week, me and you, and we'll call it Facts and Feelings. And we should do that. What do you reckon?
I don't mind. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Cool. There you go. Sorted.
Hey, just remember where this all started, yeah? The range hold is Spurs Kings, yeah?
I like what you did there.
Do you know what, right? Come on, right? So let's get this started. Ash, I'll always start with you, right? And then we'll go. There has been a lot that's been going on around what's happening with Spurs at the moment, right? You got people seeing it going in the right direction. You got some people going, but the stats don't tell you it's going in the right direction. You got some people here going, but look at the statistics, the possession, and all this. Explain to me what is going on with Tottenham and Ange right now.
I think a lot of people have been. I think last season and the friendlies and the start of this season, there's remnants, if that makes sense. So people, their feelings and emotions and what's actually happened is carrying through into this season. So, for example, in the pre-season against Bayern Munich, set pieces, disaster. Do you know what I'm saying? Against Leicester, or the transfer window, we were thinking, oh, you know what, we're going to get killers up top, or we're going to get quality players in certain areas. Not everyone, but a few of the fans had higher hopes that we're going to bring certain players in. Then we started bringing in the youngsters. The youngsters started playing really well. Fast forward to Leicester, car crash, 1-1. Like, you know what I'm saying? The mood's a bit off. You get it? Then Everton happens. Pop, 4-0. We're back. Hey, oh. And then reality settles back in when we lose to Newcastle, because, again, it's the same high line, you know. We spoke about, you know, Mo Salah's hairline, his transplant, but that high line that we've got is ultra high. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy at the moment. That's why I think that the divide's up and down, and just still swinging with arms left, right, saying we're gonna, you know, do big things this season. It's my second season. Yeah, it's my second season. You lot better watch out. So we've got that kind of energy coming out, but then, you know, we buy like Solanke, who's like obviously striker. Some people like him, some people don't. But we're expecting some to go with him, and that never quite manifested. So yeah, that's basically where we're at, man. That's why there's some people that believe in the project, because they're saying it's the young people, it's a project. Some people are thinking, nah, Ange is saying here and now, we need to challenge now. So where's that same energy? Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why the fan base is split, and it's a bit like, yeah, you got for and against. That's how I see it at the moment.
Has, before I bring in the two main events, how are you? Because obviously no one's like, you've obviously had, you've obviously not been streaming for a while, and obviously your opinion at the moment, probably nobody knows. Where are you sitting with this project at this precise moment? And the fact we're 3 games in.
I don't know what to think of the project anymore. It was sold to us last season when Ange took over, that, you know, we was going to blood some youngsters in. It's going to be a new era for Tottenham, exciting football. We've got the exciting football part. I just feel like what he's trying to do at Spurs, I don't think he can achieve at Spurs, because I can see his philosophy and what he wants to do, but we're not going to get anywhere with the players that we've got at hand at the moment. Like, he's brought in the youngsters this season. He's spent a lot of money on Archie Gray, £40 million, but it doesn't seem like he's going to get a look in thus far. So, you know, where is he going with this project? You know, soon enough, the fans at the moment, they're tolerating him to some extent, most of the fans, but, you know, it's going to get to a point where we're sort of languishing, and they're not going to care about the project. You know, it's going to be like, well, we're languishing. We need to do something about this now. And that's where Levy steps in and then brings in someone different. It's the same old, you know, spin cycle settings. That's what I'm seeing. But look, for me, last season, he got all these backroom staff in. He said, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're going to, you know, scout players far and wide. You know, we're going to bring these players in. I'm not seeing that at the moment. I'm seeing a lot of other teams around us buying quality young players, quality players from other leagues, but we don't seem to be strengthening significantly every season. Like, you know, Timo Werner, you telling me that's part of the project? You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to build for the future and stuff. But for me, it's just what he's doing with his tactics and stuff as well. You know, it's just not working. Like Ash just mentioned, the high line. You know, that line is higher than my hairline. You know, you can't get through a game with suicidal tactics like that. You can't. And I don't know. I just don't see a project at Tottenham at the moment. I just see mess, you know, and I don't see it going as far as people think it will. But you know, we'll see what happens. But for me, I just think Tottenham have had a lot of managers. We've had a lot of managers over the last 10, 15 years, all different in their own way. We've had Poch, who came close a few times. We've had Mourinho, we've had Conte, we've had Nuno, we've had so many managers. And yet, the common factor with every single one of them is the team having a soft underbelly, not having that, you know, potency, not having that killer instinct. And all these managers, most of them have done things apart from Spurs when they're at Spurs. So, you know, for me, it's a problem that hasn't been addressed for years and years. And I don't know, I don't know how it's going to be addressed. But I don't think Ange will, you know, get a tune out of these players for long. So yeah, I don't see a project at the moment. Sorry.
Deji, let me bring you in. 3 games in. He's had a full season. Where are you with the project at the moment? Can you see something positive down the road, even though we're only 3 games into this season?
100%. You know, I love Haas. We're bedrooms on this thing, but there's a lot of people here who are reminding me of Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles in terms of their sunglasses. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm just going to explain to you what I see from our club moving forward. So for me, you know, none of us saw, and none of us here could have predicted what Pochettino did with our squad. Let's just be clear. We were just wanting a change, and Pochettino surprised us, and he overachieved with that squad. And it was a disgrace that he wasn't given the tools to get it over the line. And also, because our fan base was so trophy at all costs, Daniel Levy went and brought in the trophy winners, yeah, in the Conte and Mourinho. And for me, we regressed as a club. And for me personally, I would rather see Spurs on the front foot than on the back foot, like the way that we were. And I think for me, what summed up some of the disgraceful performances under those managers was when we go to the Emirates and we had no teeth, we had no balls. We literally pulled down our pants and said, Arsenal, slap us, please, slap us. Yeah, this time round. So let me tell you what Postecoglou is doing. And sometimes we have to just be a bit patient. Rome wasn't built in a day. Sava knows this.
Was it built in 24 years?
I'm just talking about Postecoglou. I'm not talking about the overall picture. We'll get into that. I'm just asked about the first 3 games, but we'll deal with that after. Rome wasn't built in a day. What I'm hearing from the Spurs fan base is now we need to be winning now. On the clock, it took Klopp 4 seasons to get it right at Arsenal. That's when he started. Season 1, season 2, he still wasn't right, but he was implementing his system. He was implementing his style of play. If you look at Arteta, same thing. First 2 seasons, it was rubbish. Then season 3, 5th, and then the rest is history. 4 and 5, they've got second place finishes. What Postecoglou is doing is he's prioritizing. He has a project. It is a project, and he has a process. Yeah. First things first, boys. Sava Haas. We need to understand our style of play. That's the first thing, and it needs to become part of the player's DNA. Once you've got it as part of our DNA, then you can start to do the adaptations, what people are looking for, which is drop the line, bring this player on, all of that. But that comes after you've cemented the system and the style of play. So what have I seen in the first 3 games? I have seen our team completely play the 3 teams we've had off the park. Let's be real. The last 2 games at St. James's Park was a disgrace. Forget the scoreline. We were bullied on the pitch. On Sunday, I watched our team bully Newcastle. Whether you like it or not, we bullied them. The issue was, unfortunately, we brought a striker in. Unlike Arsenal and some of these other teams where you can see what they obviously need and they didn't do it, we brought in a striker. It's not Postecoglou's fault that he got injured after game 1. Come on, that's not his fault. We all know, had Solanke been on the pitch against Newcastle, he scores. we created that many chances.
Like he did against Leicester.
Bro, we look.
Like he did against Leicester.
Give him a chance. It's his first game, bro.
So this would have been his second game. Where's the guarantee?
It's no Harry Kane. But let me look. Allow me, Sava, because you're gonna do your.
Yeah, sorry. You've got stop saying facts.
Let me land.
Yeah, sure, but stop saying
we're minimizing the amount of opportunities that other teams have. We need to fix up the lapse in concentration, because the goals were lapses in concentration, in my opinion. They could have been stopped. The domination that we're doing in the location means that we're creating more chances to score. We just need to finish off our dinner. And I use the analogy. When a striker is not scoring goals, what do you look out for? You look to see, are they in the right place? Are they making the right runs? If they're not scoring goals, but they're in the right place and not making runs, then you know it's not a disaster, because sooner or later, it's going to land on their feet and they're going to put the ball in the back of the net. Are Tottenham doing the right things? Yes, they are. Are they creating chances? Yes, they are. Are they minimizing the opportunities for the opposition? Yes, they are. What we needed to do is just score and put the ball in the back of the net. That was what was missing from Newcastle. That was what was missing from Leicester. Sooner or later, the boys are going to get it right. That's what I'm saying. Why are people huffing and puffing? It's not bad. We're playing well. We're not looking like Man United.
No, we're not.
We're not looking like them, are we? We're not looking rubbish. Do you get what I'm saying? So a matter of time, the boys will kick on and give them the chance. But Postecoglou's only been there a year and 2 months. And I always use this other analogy. If it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. Man United, with all that stink, are still keeping Eric Ten Hag in charge. And he's rubbish. Arteta, this time in his reign at Arsenal, should have been gone. But they stuck with it. And now look, they are enjoying. You can't say you haven't seen our team progress. And for me, the biggest marker of the progression, forget Leicester, you can have those sorts of games. Forget Bournemouth, or forget even the Everton game. We bullied Newcastle. I like to see Liverpool, Arsenal bully that Newcastle team. For me, physically, we couldn't compete. The intensity was too much. Physically, we couldn't cope. And I saw our team cope. And I saw our team bully them. And I saw our team, unfortunately, not being able to take chances because we had no striker, for crying out loud. No Richarlison, no Solanke. So look, it's not perfect, but it's an improvement. And surely as Spurs fans, that's what we want. An improvement and improvement. And lastly, this is my last bit for Saba. You're all shaking your bums violently because we had a good start last season and we faded. I'd rather have a measured start to this season and finish strong. If we finish strong, there's nothing stopping us from being top four. And if we finish top four this season, in my opinion, that's progress and that's a good season. So why are we all shaking our bums for? Why are we all getting our knickers in the twist? Give the guy a chance. Let's see what he's got. People are talking like it's the end of the world after game 3. Calm down.
Sava?
Listen, I don't think Spurs are rubbish, but I just feel like what I've just heard there is a lot of feelings, no evidence of anything, right? Again, I'm a factual person. I look at evidence. So when did you say, if you can see how we're progressing? None of the evidence suggests we're progressing. None of it. And I've got it for days. None of the evidence. Do you know where the evidence is that we're progressing? It's in people's hearts. It's in people's hearts because we play attacking a bit more now than we used to. There's no evidence that we're progressing, right? Deji has just told you a lie straight away. I'll call it out. When we had Conte and Mourinho and look at the dusted football. Do you know the facts versus them two versus Ange? They piss all over him in every department. In every department, they're pissing all over Ange.
They had Kane, though.
Hang on, Deji. Hang on. Yeah, they had Kane. Yeah. But your man, I'm going to call him your man, Postecoglou, has got a brilliant defence, right? Conte and Jose had Rodon, Sanchez, Dyer, Royale, Sessegnon, Longley, and these guys managed to actually have us defending like a bloody football team. This guy's got us defending like it's five-a-side with your mates, right? So none of the facts, this is the thing. We could talk feelings all day long, We can hear this nonsense. Rome wasn't built in a day. Yeah, but I'm not a 12-year-old, so I'm not going to talk like that. Sorry. That's just nonsense. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? It's not been a day, right? This guy's had nearly £400 million. We still can't defend. We still have no defensive midfielder. We have no midfielder of note that can run a game, right? We've brought in forwards, and this is what I love from people like Deji. No offense, right? But when I hear things like, the forwards, they're getting in the right areas. The problem is, if you're bringing in players that aren't good enough, they're not good enough. They are not good enough. You look at, he's bought, I think, 7 forwards since he's joined this club, Ange Postecoglou, and all of them, other than Solanke, who we've seen for 90 minutes, all of them, you go, meh, right? Meh. So what is that project? I don't see what that project is in any way, shape or form, right? Let's have a look at some of the things that were just said. Right? Let's have a look at some of the things that were just said, right? Klopp, it took Klopp 4 years. Yeah? In his first year, Klopp got to 2 finals. In his first year. In our first year with Ange got knocked out in the first round to Fulham, right? So let's put those in perspective. Oh, Arteta's first couple of years, he won an FA Cup. That gave him grace. He's a winner. He's done more. Huh?
He's not in Arteta's full seasons at Arsenal. What has he won?
But hang on. So we just forget that he was the manager when they won it. You can't do that. No. Hang on. Sorry. We can't. You can't.
So United didn't leave the foundation there for them to potentially win the FA Cup.
Hang on. They sacked Unai. Arteta
and
comes
that's
in.
what I'm saying. So if he's so good, then why hasn't he reproduced it again?
Whoa. First of all, slow down. People like you do this a lot. No, never said he was so good. Never said it was so good. You're the one. This is where it goes wrong, Deji. You're the one using this as a benchmark. Oh my God! But look at what Arteta did in his first couple of years.
Carry on, anyway. Carry on.
If we get to 3 years down the line, we're just going to replicate Arteta and Arsenal. There's no proof of that, right? United, they kept Ten Hag. He's dusty. He's shit. They're shit. They've won 2 trophies in 2 years. So whatever we want to say about Man United, they're winners. Yeah, Ten Hag's had 2 better seasons than Ange has at Tottenham, right? Because he's won things, right? Oh my God, we've bullied everyone we've played. We've played them off the park. We've played the worst Everton team I think I've ever seen, and the newly promoted Leicester, right? We're meant to be bullying and dominating those teams. Newcastle are okay. They're not this great beast. They didn't sign anyone. Newcastle are an okay team.
Can I just ask a quick question, Sabah?
Sure.
Did you expect us to dominate Newcastle the way that we did?
I don't think we dominated them at all. I don't think we What did we dominate them? We had a lot of possession. This is what we're calling domination. We didn't create one clear-cut chance in a game of football. Not one clear-cut chance, and they scored our goal for us. So when we're talking about domination, is this what we're resorting to? Is having a lot of the football and not creating clear-cut chances, right? And again, what have I got written down here? Right? We didn't have a centre forward on the pitch. Hang on. Our top goal scorer from last season was up front. Our top goal scorer that got 17 goals last year was up front in that second half. Why didn't he?
You're saying Son is a striker.
No, Deji. No, listen. 2 of these, right? 2 of these. Not what I said.
I just want to know: is that Son's strongest position? Is he a striker? Is he a number 9? Is he a number 9?
I think he's more a number 9 now than he is a wide winger. He's doing nothing from that left-hand side lately.
No, I think he's more in his performances. Even in the Everton game, he looked better on the left-hand side.
Because it's Everton. Everton are shit. In that game against Leicester, he did nothing from the left, right? He did nothing in that first half from the left against Newcastle. Sonny last year played the majority of games through the middle. That's where he's dangerous. That's where he scores goals. Now, I'm not saying he's an out-and-out number 9. But we can't all sit there and say, well, Sonny was brilliant last season. He scored 17 goals, blah, 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 blah. Then this season, it's the excuse why we didn't score against Newcastle because we didn't have any forwards on the pitch. These are the forwards he signed. He signed Timo Werner. He signed Brennan Johnson. He signed Odobert. He signed Kulusevski. Sonny's always been there. The excuses that come out for this manager with no factual evidence to back it up. Do you know, Deji? This is the thing. Hang on, Ash. Sorry, hang on. Sorry, you called me on. Knew what you were getting. You knew what you were getting. Right?
Go on.
This is the thing, right? I hear it all day long. It's the positive versus the negative. We can all sit here and say nice, fluffy stuff, but it's not true. There's no evidence. Ange's time at Tottenham Hotspur, he's got the second worst goals to game conceded ratio of any manager we've had in the Premier League era. Let that sink in. Of any manager we've had in the Premier League era, this guy's got the second worst goals conceded per game ratio because he doesn't know how to set up a team defensively. He doesn't know how to do it. So this, you can shake your head, it's true. This talk that the players need to learn this system before they can adapt. Sorry, what? Every team knows you build from the back. You make yourself hard to beat. He's got a World Cup winner, Mickey van der Ven, who everyone raves about. And we can see goals at a rate of knots. The same goal as well over and over again. It's getting embarrassing. Other fan bases can see it. It's only a portion of our fan base that don't want to see the truth. His last 31 games are disgusting. The form of this football club for 10 months is disgusting, but that gets swept under the carpet because he had a good first 10 games. That is what is keeping this guy in a job, because otherwise his form is disgusting. His away form is one of the worst in the Premier League. I don't know if anyone knows that. His away form is disgusting. The goals conceded is absolutely shambolic compared to anybody in the top 10, right? The number of games this man has lost, his win rate compared to other people, everything is not good. But we've got people like Deji sitting there going, I see the plan. I see the progress.
I see it. You see, okay. With you,
but with no evidence.
With you have this idea in mind. Sometimes people have a different strategy. You're talking about maybe you start with defense. Postecoglou has never ever come out to say he's all about
what defending. Idea have I got in mind?
He says his game is we need to score more than the opposition. That's his game. There's nothing wrong with that. And
can I ask how old you are, Deji? I'm not in a horrible way. Can I ask how old you are?
Let me just finish. Before all your facts and figures, the brother finished 5th, mate. Whether you like it or not, whether some of the other teams were dusty or not, did in your first season with a Spurs side, it's pretty damn good. You have to admit that. Whether you like it or not, you have to admit that. We are
why would I not like it?
We are 3 games in. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but Deji, I'm not looking at 3 games.
The way that you see the game, he doesn't have to follow the way that you see the game, mate. He's doing his own way.
So the reason I asked the question, if you don't mind, I'm not being rude. You look a lot younger than I am. How old are you?
I'm the same age as you.
So you saw Ozzy Ardiles. This is what Ozzy Ardiles did. We will score more than you. No top-class manager. No one can give me an example of a manager that does this in world football. This notion that he's doing this as some sort of maverick, it's not true. It doesn't work. No one keeps their job if you defend the way that Tottenham Hotspur defend. You see that surely. The defensive stats are woeful, Deji. Who does not start with that?
I get that. But could it be possible that our defensive stats will always be woeful, but maybe our goal scoring stats will be better? Because for me, the reason why we're arguing this way is because we didn't finish our dinner in the Leicester game and the Newcastle game. What happens if we finish our dinner?
Can I tell you something, right? This is what makes me laugh. When I have a debate with people, they always say things like, it's only 3 games. We didn't finish our dinner. Sure. Right? If you want to finish your dinner, go and buy better players. It's really that simple. Right? So when fans are sitting there, just praising.
You're not happy with Solanke. You're not happy with him.
It's okay. Solanke's an all right striker. He's had one decent season in his entire career, and our fans are going on as though we've signed Harry Kane back. And he's okay. But my issue isn't, Deji, that we could finish our dinner. Goal scoring has not actually been our issue. And again, where you don't like my facts prove everything I'm saying because they're not feelings, right? We will not, it doesn't matter. If we go and score 2 or 3 goals in a game, we are conceding 2 or 3 goals in a game because we can't defend. No one in world football does this. No top manager worth their salt does this. But our fans go, oh, Ange, he's a maverick and Ange is doing something different. No, what Ange is doing is bringing up really bad stats. And I don't know if you saw my show earlier. I made an entire spreadsheet about Ange and his time at Tottenham, right? To show how bad this guy's defensive stats are compared to AVB, Pochettino, Harry Redknapp, Conte, Jose. This guy can't hold a candle to any of these people, but we love it because he attacks. It don't make sense. It's got to make sense. It's not 3 games, Deji. It's 10 months now. We've not been good. 10 months of bad form. Sure.
Sorry. So at this stage, under a new manager, where should we be? What would you expect?
Do you know what?
Just a legit question, because I know you seem really disappointed. So I just wanted to find out.
Where, do you know what? It's not that I seem disappointed, Deji. I don't expect more from this manager. I don't expect more from this manager. I just find it funny how people are acting like they're seeing what they're not. They're seeing things with their eyes, but it's lying to them because the actual facts and evidence doesn't actually tell the story they want to try and tell people. I think with a proper manager that actually has balance, right? Not the argument of, oh, Conte plays negative football when Ange plays attack. A balanced manager, right, would have us top 4 comfortably, because I think there is no way on earth Tottenham should be conceding 61 goals a season with Van der Ven and Romero as a centre-half pairing, right? There's no way a new manager wouldn't come in here and go, I need a number 6. I need a defensive midfielder. Not all this, oh, but we've got 2 number 8s, right? There's no way a new manager comes in here and goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what no other manager does and play 2 inverted fullbacks at once whilst I haven't got a holding midfielder to protect the back 4. So a new manager for me, I'm not saying sack him now. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's good for anyone if he gets sacked right now. I just don't see the fuss, Deji. I don't see the fuss with this guy. I don't see the project.
Yeah, that's fair.
Can I bring something up quickly? Can I just bring something up, right? Because something that gets mentioned and has been mentioned is the difference between the game between this season against Newcastle and last, right? Now, apart from the shots, look at everything else. 27% possession, 189 passes, accuracy, fouls, and all that. Compare it to this year. Oh, hold on, I'm clicking the wrong screen. Compare it to this year, it's pretty much very similar, except Newcastle were probably on form last year. It's the reason why they ended up scoring 4 and we made mistakes. So when people say we controlled the game, we actually controlled last year, right? But Werner's miss, and what happened after that? We just completely fell apart. So when people are saying we controlled against Newcastle this weekend, I think you have to look at the two situations. Newcastle were going into this game not on form for me, right? If you watch them against Southampton and if you watch them against Bournemouth, they were pretty average, below average, compared to what they were when they beat us 4-0, right? So this notion of actually we controlled them last year. It's the scoreline was a bit of a harsher reflection because they took their chances.
But Marlon, isn't it a sad indictment? I've seen loads of videos going around. I've seen all these Spurs YouTubers on podcasts trying to make this point about the 2 Newcastle games. Let it sink in, right? This is how bad a fan base we are at times. We are trying to debate one defeat, how it was better than another defeat. Let that sink in. This was a very, very average Newcastle team, missing 3 of their back 4. Right, Tonali has just come back as well. Right, they were there for the taking, very average.
But it was a stronger team than we played last season, though. It was a stronger Newcastle team than last season.
Sure, it could well be, but Newcastle aren't the strongest team in the world. I think everyone's going on as though we've just beat, that we've just bossed Arsenal or Liverpool.
But Newcastle, in my opinion, it would be good to get your opinion. I would imagine that people expect Newcastle to be in the top 6.
I haven't got them down as top 6, no. But
really,
Well, no, I think. Well,
personally, I don't. At the present moment, it all depends on Brighton because the way they've started. Depends on Villa and how they're going to cope with Europe. So
and Chelsea
also,
and Man United,
and Chelsea and Man United.
Yeah.
And look, we saw how in and out of form Man United were last year, where they finished below us. So it's all kind of irrelevant in the sense of it all depends on how the other teams get on. And Newcastle again missed out. You got to remember they missed that because of Chelsea on the Conference League, right? And they've just come off.
Newcastle had a lot of injuries the season before. Like Newcastle didn't have the same injuries. They finished in the Champions League spot.
So it's just
some respect on their name, and they had the majority of those players who brought them to the Champions League were back. For me, the Joe Lintons, the Guimaraes, Isak, Gordon. But these are big players, good players. Do you get what I'm saying? That were on the pitch.
So are Botman and Shaw
against them. Yeah, so but Botman and Shaw, Van der Ven.
But you say that when you say that missing Van der Ven, we've got Dragoshin to bring in. They're bringing in people like Emil Kraft.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. They were missing players. We were missing players.
Yeah, listen, we were missing players, but I just don't know how we can base one defeat against another defeat as though it's some sort of good feat.
I'm saying
that shows how low our levels of expectation are.
It's not about I take issue with that. The Newcastle team that we lost 4-0 to was worse than the team they put out on Sunday. We can say that. It's fine. We should
hold on. Hold on. I'll give you both teams, right? And then we can decide from there. So last year, right, the Brackpool was in goal. Murphy played right back. It was Kraft, Shaw, Dan Burn, Longstaff, Guimaraes, Anderson, and it was Gordon, Isak, and Barnes is what they started with, right? So you compare that to hold on, I haven't got it now. I've lost it.
This
weekend, this season, they had Pope, Livramento, Kraft, Burn, Kelly, Longstaff, Guimaraes, Joe Linton, Gordon, Isak, and Barnes. So the difference there is Pope, Livramento, and Kelly, and Joe Linton.
Yeah. So maybe this season was slightly stronger. I was gonna say, in terms of like, can Spurs on the Ange Postecoglou is there room for improvement? As I was going to say, is there room that this team can improve after that performance, knowing that some of the chances were, decision making, some people might say was abysmal? Can things improve as the season goes along?
I think it can only
And one quick thing on that, because everyone's talking about again how much we dominated, right? And I don't even like XG, right? I don't even like it. But considering we dominated, apparently Newcastle's XG was 1.83, ours was 1.26.
Because we didn't create any clear-cut chances, Marlon. For all this domination that these people lie about, we didn't create any clear-cut chances.
Why was that though?
They scored up. What do you mean? Why was that? Because we don't create a lot.
I'm just asking your opinion, mate.
Because we don't. We play one way. We get the ball out wide and we try and pull the ball back. That's all we do in this system under Ange.
Can I just
try and pull it back?
Can I just say something about this domination thing? And this is just my opinion, right?
Yeah, go on.
It is possible for opposition to allow other teams to have possession, play possession football, if they know they have a chink in their armour. Which, okay, you can have the ball. You can dominate the game. But this is the thing. You can dominate the game, but I know you're chink in the armour. I know that we're going to get chances. You're going to play a high line, and we're going to get through and score. I said at half-time in the Newcastle game when it was 1-1, I don't know how many of you are in the group, but I said Newcastle are better prepared to get that second goal than we are to get in a goal. And it proved right. They exposed us in the second half. They got.
Could you see it coming as that game went on? You knew what was coming, right?
I did. That's why I said it, because for all the domination that we had, for all the probing and everything else, we were never going to score in that game.
I just want to know what you guys saw at half time.
I'm going to answer that separately because I couldn't. So once Johnson had come on, I thought the game was going to finish 1-0. I actually didn't see that Newcastle were going to score the second. But when it happened, it wasn't like I went, oh, okay, I didn't see that coming. It was like, oh, sorry, this is Spurs kind of scenario in my head. If I'm looking at the game objectively, I just didn't see Newcastle scoring a second, but I didn't see us scoring another one because as we've seen there, we didn't create many chances. So I'll openly admit that I didn't see it coming. But
Guys,
it's not gone.
No, I was gonna say finish your point, and then I'll come in. Finish your point.
No, it was just that when Sava said to Has then, like, literally, did you see it coming? Personally, I didn't see it coming, but that's probably more for me at the time, right? Yeah. Because obviously when it did happen, it wasn't like I was thinking going, oh my God, why did we conceded that second goal? It's just gone completely against the run of play. In my head, it was like, oh, this is Spurs from last season still. We're still going to concede these silly goals. And obviously what happened after Leicester, again, away from home, it seems to be we're very soft.
How easy was it at home? How easy was that goal?
And yeah, and it
I'm going to go through it.
It was yeah, you will go through it. But do you remember last week, and I don't know how many of you lot watched it, but Chef, when he was on here, said his biggest concern, right, was that Maddison was going to play through the middle. And he said that he doesn't think Maddison will be strong enough for that midfield, right? That's going to be Ramirez and Joe Linton. And it's quite ironic that the second goal comes from Joe Linton literally winning the ball off Maddison, pushing him out of the way, which has to then, because I remember this is where Barnaby and Ash were arguing on Sunday, right, about what Basuma then has to do, right? Does he come forward and try and block the pass, right? Which I think he personally was too far away from it, right? Because Maddison is the problem because he actually loses the ball in the middle and he's not strong enough, which then gives Joe Linton the freedom. But then Romero and Dragushin, which again, you can kind of go to the point of Dragushin hasn't played many games because Ange hasn't trusted him. I don't know why. He hasn't thrown him in many games. He's gone and played Van der Ven last week against Everton and probably should have brought him off, which now means he's injured for a very long time, right? But at the same time, it's then he's laid this one killer pass to a Romero who's, I don't know if he's trying to go forward, I don't know what he's trying to do, which has then opened us up. But it's not like this was the first time it's happened to Tottenham. And that's the biggest concern, I think, for everybody is the goals we're conceding are very ironic to last year. The only thing that's been taken out of the equation is the set pieces at the moment.
But he didn't. This again is the thing. When people are really overly positive about our transfer window and what they see Ange's doing, again, he's not addressed a single issue at the club over the summer. He's not addressed any of the defenders, the midfield. He's not addressed the high line. He's not addressed the inversion.
We're going to get into it a bit more.
Sorry, man. It's just infuriating. We can all see it, and he can't.
I'm going to go through the lineup real quick, as we did already. Pope, Joe Linton, Gordon, Barnes, blah, 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 blah. You can see it on the screen, yeah? Our lineup was there with Vicario, Pedro Porro, blah, 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 blah. You can see that. I'm going to get into it a bit deeper. But basically, we played a 4-3-3 as we always do. Here's our average positions. And I think the main thing people were complaining about was adaptation from last season, fullbacks inverting too much, no protection for the back two, etc., right? Read into this average position how you want to. It's up to you, yeah? But that's the average positions at the moment. I'll get into that, like actual positions where they were on the pitch as well, like via heat map. But this is also Spurs out of possession. So it shows the metrics where some of our players were out of possession. You can see a doggy on the left and Porro on the right, or the bar right there on that right hand space. Spurs in possession, it shows there with a doggy on the left, Odegaard out on the right and Porro out on the right, with Sarr and the rest of them in the midfield, etc., etc. A bit more detail for Newcastle. They also set up in the 4-3-3 as well. That was their average position. Obviously, they were doing more of a low block with a 5-4-1 at times, and then they switched over to a 4-5-1 during the second half, and we'll get into that as well. But that is the momentum bar. I think this is the reason why some Spurs fans were a little bit more optimistic. Not the actual possession stats. This is attacking momentum. So you can see that the first 20 minutes to 15 minutes, Newcastle had some joy down a particular side. They attacked down a particular side, and then we got into the game 20 minutes into it, and then they got the goal, obviously, and then it come to half time, and then we were on top for large parts of the game where we actually did attack. As you can see, the bars all the way down. The low bars show that we weren't attacking really high, but the high bars show that we were attacking. Self-explanatory right there. On the next slide, it's just a passing map. So it just shows how both teams set up and where they were positionally. And then this is progressions in carries versus progression via pass. This shows the turnovers. So maybe you guys want to see this. Turnovers. Newcastle had less turnovers. That led to a shot. Actually, they had 4 high turnovers, led to no shots. We had 15 high turnovers, and that led to 2 shots, which isn't too bad considering we lost the ball quite a lot of the time. But we're going to lose the ball because we play that attacking football, which carries risk towards it. Newcastle, there's our passing lanes there as well. So Spurs, as you can see the lines there, and that's where we dominated, shown in the squares. Big chances. So everyone's talking about chances. Did we create chances? So Newcastle in the green on the left-hand side, they created 2 big chances. Spurs created 2 big chances. 9 shots for Newcastle, 20 shots for Spurs, 6 saves for the goalkeeper, 1 for ours. 7 corners to 12, 16 fouls. They gave away. We gave away 13. Passes, obviously, we dominated them. I think we broke a record or something for the season. And tackles, we had more tackles in the game in general. Also, both hit the woodwork once. Duels, we were on top in duels. Dispossessed, they dispossessed more times. We won more ground duels than them, more aerial duels. So there is some things to look at in the stats, because people want to talk about the facts and the stats. There's some of the facts and stats. Even though we lost the game, that's what it comes down to. Defending wise, obviously we defended. We won one of those duels, as I said before, and as tackles, we tackled more. We recovered more balls as well. And this was the setup, 4-3-3, as you can see here on the screen. But this was Newcastle's setup. They set up with a back 3. And then there's a lopsided 3 with Livramento pulling a little bit wider on the right-hand side, with Longstaff in midfield, with Ramirez also playing as a double pivot alongside Longstaff, with Joe Linton playing as in the half space, left-hand space, and then Barnes playing super wide with Isak up top, with Gordon in the right-hand half space. With Spurs, we sometimes played in the 3 and sometimes played in the 2. In the 3, it was Porro, Dragusin, and Romero. So Porro is in that kind of half space. He's not fully out wide. He's kind of inverted, but he's closer to the back 2 there, in the back 3. And Basuma, noticeably, from what I saw, was a lot closer to the back line than usual. A doggy out wide. We had Sarr, Maddison occupied by Grimaris and Longstaff. Son trying to pin back Kraft, and Kulusevski playing in the number 9. Don't think it really worked for me in at number 9. And Odobert against Kelly, and that was the matchup. But Livramento was in between both Son and the doggy at times, and that was the play. They tried to build up real quickly. They tried to go direct into Isak, and Isak would hold the ball. And what I noticed was Romero, a bit like that dog without the bone. They asked him to do that kind of rush tactic, a bit like when Eric Dyer was asked to do it against Man City underneath. I can't remember. I was Mason, I think it was, or Stellini, when he's really ultra aggressive on the striker. So basically, Romero's super aggressive, meaning that Basuma covers him in that space. He kind of drops into that space when that ball's played into that high possession. So that was a tactic, and it showed it there. There's a screenshot of it there with Basuma in the back 3 and Romero on Isak trying to win those aerial challenges against Isak. So I don't know if you noticed in the first half, Isak wasn't that prolific in that first half. We kept him quite quiet in that position. What happened was when Newcastle tried to build out from the back, they tried to go through Livramento. And what happened with Livramento, he's tried to progress the ball into Longstaff, but the doggy would press onto Livramento. And Longstaff isn't the most tactical player, and Maddison dropped onto it. So this is a bit of Ange's tactics here off the ball. When that ball went into Livramento, you can see the doggy, that was a pressing trigger. The picture shows it there. The doggy goes into him, goes to press. And then the idea was that that ball will go into Longstaff, and that's why that right-hand side didn't really work. So on the left-hand side is where you saw that first attack. So that ball switches out to Joe Linton, and that actually pulls Bissouma out of position, because Bissouma's meant to be holding the midfield, but because Joe Linton's in that left-hand half space, he pulls a bit wider, which pulls Bissouma out of position. And Ramirez is pinning Sarr, Barnes is pinning Porro, pulling him away from that back three. But what happens from here, I show a little screenshot as well. Bruno G is on the ball. He goes from out to in, picks up the ball, and then you can see the running from Joe Linton. Joe Linton picks up the ball, progresses down that side that I was talking about earlier, and then that's when he finds that ball into Barnes. Barnes is on his bike, and it looks like, Spurs, why are we so high line? What's going on here? Barnes is on the bike. There's a recovery challenge from Dragusin, and he makes that challenge, and you're thinking, all right, cool, maybe you don't need that Van der Ven, maybe we've got that covered. Son tries to play it out from the back after a corner, and that's when Isak dispossesses him and gets that chance where he runs at Bissouma, I think it is, hits that ball, and then it hits the woodwork. And basically, yeah, that was like the first chance on goal from Newcastle. Here's Bissouma in possession, and he's trying to find Kulusevski in between the lines, threads that ball through, but unfortunately Burn wins the physicality duel, and Kulusevski doesn't have the pace to get away from him, and so he wins that duel. Off the back of that, the ball goes straight into Pope. Nick Pope does a long ball because they weren't afraid to go direct into Gordon. Gordon brings it down with an excellent first touch, and all of a sudden there's a turnover, and it looks like a quick transition. With Gordon now, he's in space. He finds Isak. Isak lays that ball off and then goes back to Gordon, who finds Barnes. Barnes squares up to Porro and gets that first shot off goal. And so that's when Spurs look a little bit shaky. And I talked about that in the momentum bar where, they had us in the first, 15 to 17 minutes. Spurs pressing is what I thought Spurs did a bit better, maybe than other seasons. We've come in here, we've pressed, the ball's gone into Livramento, into Longstaff. They're trying to progress it to Gordon. So then Isak tries to help out to break the press, goes into Gordon. When it does find Gordon, the next phase of the press comes in. And then that's when Gordon turns into pressure and Kulu wins the ball in that area. And that's when it looks like, there's a counter-attack on. Now, this is when I talk about decision-making. Because for me, Kulu needs to play that ball where I've pointed the arrow. Yeah. Right there. If he gets his head up, I think, this is my opinion, I think he should play that ball through into Son, and then maybe Son has a better transition. What happens, he plays it to feet, Son looks after it, and he gives him a little 1-2. That's when Newcastle are able to get those bodies back, from what I can see. He's able to get those bodies back. What Kulu then has to do is play it back to Son. Now, for me, Son could either shape his body up to shoot or hit it first time, like he used to do back in the day, and curl it, top bins or whatever he used to do. But he takes a touch, and for some reason he's a bit nervous. So what he does is he lays it off to Sarr instead, and Sarr shapes to shoot instead, and he hits it first time. And I think it's a comfortable save for Nick Pope in that position. This is the 1-0 goal. The 1-0 goal, I missed a bit before this, but basically what happened was Romero, as I said, is aggressive, and what he does that pressing thing, what I spoke about, where he's the one that goes after that press. He runs completely out of possession, and what happens is, you can see Bissouma where my arrow is, he's got to go and cover him. This is the throw-in now. So the throw-in goes straight down the line. It's a quick throw which catches Spurs off guard. And Bissouma, you can see there, he's running to cover Romero there in that position. Goes down the line. Madison's also trying to run back. Madison's marking Kelly, and then Kelly just puts that ball in that dangerous area. And what Barnes does well, he peels off. Instead of running into that 6-yard box, he peels off. Now, this is ironic. The reason why I brought these pictures up is because this is ironic, because there's a lot of debate on X about Johnson, whether Johnson should fire that ball across the box or if he should cut it back into Son. But we'll get back into that. Kelly gets his head up and he finds Barnes, who peels off. And then when it does get to Barnes in that space hits it first time, and it gets in the back of the net, and it's 1-0 to Newcastle. And for me, that was against the run of play. Now, second half, Spurs defending high up in the pitch. Why did Spurs why do we try to defend high at the pitch? It's because we're closer to the opposition's goal. I think that's the reason why they try to defend in numbers, try to pinch the ball back there, forces them down the line. As it goes down the line, that's when Spurs win the ball high up, and then the attacking phase happens. We turn the ball over, and once we've got that ball over in that position, Kulusevski, for me, I'm saying, look, Son needs to be, obviously people saying Son's not a number 9, Son is a 9, he's got many goals in that position. For me, Son needs to be where that arrow is. I made that arrow because I think Son should be stretching the centre backs, and so that's what I mean by decision making by our front line. So I think if you get a striker there, they're going to be occupying that position because they're used to being in that position. Anyway, the ball goes out wide, and I forgot to mention Johnson's there. So the ball goes out wide to Johnson, and I think the ball could have been played earlier to him. Anyway, it goes out to him. And now, again, this is the position I'm talking about. Son, if you can see my arrow, he's on the edge of the box, but I think he should be in between the two centre halves. Do you know what I'm saying? Pinning them back. He doesn't do that. And then what happens is Johnson fires the ball across the box. The ball goes across the box, and then it comes to nothing. Odegaard goes with the knee. Sorry, this is the chance that Odegaard goes with the knee.
His head.
Odegaard goes with the knee instead of his head. And I'm like, my brother, what are you doing? Do you know what I'm saying? That was a big opportunity for me that Odegaard could have had. And you can see here with a close-up that I've got a little still here. Odegaard should be hitting that either to the near post. He's got the goal to aim at, or heading it back across. And then, who knows? We could score a goal. But yeah, it is what it is. That doesn't happen. Now, Bissouma, people are shitting on him a lot. But I thought this was a good passage of play. I didn't put all of his bits, but I thought this was a good passage of play where you've got 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 players trying to close them off. Now the ball comes into him from Vicario, and that's a pressing trigger to jump on that number 6, the defensive midfielder, or whatever you want to call him, but 8, wherever he is. He's in a defensive midfielder position. That's when these two go to press him in that area, and what he does is he evades that pressure by doing the half turn. He's press resistant, and he beats the press. And because he beats the press, that turns into attacking transition. He carries that ball high up the pitch. He eats the ground. And when he eats the ground up, he finds Son in space. When he finds Son in space, Son's got an option now. He can either pay it into Johnson. Johnson's got his arm up. He's saying, look, feed me there. You've got Madison there in the far corner. You've got Odegaard on far left, but then you've got Kulu running in between the two centre halves. So you're thinking, okay, Son, you've got 4 options. Which you're going to do? What option are you going to do? You've got 2 there that are blatant that I pointed the arrows at. Can he make the right decision? He's running at the back line. He shoots instead, and it gets blocked. But that little area I've highlighted there, that's where I think he should go, because he takes his time, and then the chance is gone. When that chance is gone, you've got to put it out wide to Johnson.
Would you pass it to Johnson?
Yeah, well, this is it. This is another debate. I personally think if it goes out to Johnson, well, number one, let me put this out. Johnson, I think his first touch was underneath his feet when he did come on the pitch for the second half. And I can tell his confidence is shot to pieces. Obviously, he turned off his social medias, blah, blah, blah. We won't get into that. But I think that's why the players aren't passing to him, because this isn't the first incident that's happened to Johnson where he's been in space and he's not received the ball. But anyway, I digress. That ball there, the arrow I just pointed there, should go into Madison. Look at Madison's hands up, because that's the play. That's the pitch geography where you've got Johnson. He's been trained to literally get that ball and sting it across the box, and then that tap in that you spoke about, Sava. That's how we do. That's how we score goals. It's an easy goal, but we don't do that. That's a chance, and that doesn't go down as a big chance, by the way. That doesn't go down as a big chance. That's decision making. That ball there, the arrows I just put there. I don't know if you saw that. That's what should be happening. Go down there, go across. He goes for the shot, and they're able to block it. It looks like good defender from Newcastle. Porro gets a shot off, hits the crossbar. Is what it is. Hits the woodwork. Blah blah blah. Like nobody cares. Like it was a deflection.
Did Porro take the most shots at the weekend as well, which is kind of where we were at with our shots.
He did take the most shots.
Says a lot. it does speak volumes of Porro.
Fans were asking for Spurs to start shooting more from outside the box.
He's our best attacking player. Let's be honest.
So I took two shots outside the box. Madison got a shot outside the box. Odegaard got a shot blocked from outside the box. So players were trying to find a way to break this low block, mid to low block. Anyway, Madison gets on the ball, gets that shot off. The shot gets saved. Now Johnson hits it. For me, Johnson should be scoring. He should be scoring this. But anyway, it goes off Burn. He fails to clear it, and it's 1-1. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sign down Burner.
Aiken Murphy is brought on to deal with Spurs' superiority, because I forgot to mention we switched it up by taking Sarr off, putting Kulu and Madison in the 8. So Ange there tactically did change something, and that gave us more dominance in the midfield, and Newcastle couldn't live with us because we outnumbered them in the central areas, and they struggled for a bit. It was only when Murphy came on, he was able to invert a bit more.
He did this in the 4-0 game as well.
Yeah,
and that's key to this. Yeah, he did this in the 4-0 game. Hence the reason why this game then suddenly got changed in the direction of Newcastle, because he reverted back to the tactics he'd done when they beat us 4-0.
Correct. Newcastle beat the press because of that extra body in the midfield by Murphy being in there. There's that free I was talking about. It gets the balls into not Grameris, Isaac. Ball goes right in. Isaac holds it up, lays it back off into Gordon. Gordon squares up Porro, and then that's where Murphy makes that overlapping run on the left-hand side this time. And then he gets that shot off, and it's a good save for Vicario. Vicario gets his hand to it.
Can I ask a quick question, Ash?
Yeah, go for it.
So it's really quickly, in those last 4 or 5 passages you just showed with that attack, first of all, look how bad that line is. And second of all, I don't see our left back anywhere near our own defensive third. It's such a worry. Can
you go back to it, Ash? Yeah, because the draggy sheet there, if you go back to it, there's a bit where you put the line.
No. When you go back,
but even then, there's no. Where's your doggy in this situation?
Like, look, if you go back to the first one where you showed the 3 of them.
3 of them,
right? You showed the 3 of them.
There we go.
Right. You see the 3 of them. Look where a doggy is. Right, a doggy is an attacking midfielder right here. I'll come back to this a bit later, Ash, but I want to talk about that because everyone praises this. That is everything that's wrong with how Tottenham defend. Look where he is, and then look when they get the shot off, he's still nowhere to be seen.
I think lots of people are complaining that normally it's 2 centre backs that are left by themselves, and this time at least there's 3 centre backs with 2.
I complain.
Eventually, and then also it's not a straight line.
One of your defenders should not be there. One of your defenders should not be.
Well, if you go forward to the next line, it is 4 defenders. That is, and it doesn't make a difference. Basically, is what I'm saying. So we're in a line of 4, and we still look bad. Do you know what I mean? So look, here we go.
But that should not be. That should not be James Maddison. That should not be James Maddison in Udogi's position. Like that's criminal. That's just not how you defend as a team. Other teams don't do this. But sorry, it's just me. Can't stand his defending. Can't stand it.
As I said, Murphy makes a good shot. Vicario gets down, makes a good save. And then a cross goes into the box, which is defended well by Newcastle. But I think this is the chance where, Madison picks the ball up on the edge, gets that long-range shot, and forces a save from Nick Pope, top corner. Pope pretends to be injured, and he sits down for a bit. And I think this is when me and Barnaby were talking about the dark arts, where like the goalkeeper stays down, and that gives Howe a chance to kind of organize the team tactically and sort things out, which is again credit to him. Do you know what I'm saying? For using his nous and doing something different. I think I rate that still. I think as a tactical, you have to give it to him. You know what I'm saying? He changed the way he played, and he adapted. So here's Newcastle, second goal. So we're going to go through that now. This is the bit where everyone wants to see. So the ball from the fullback goes into so basically Son tries to initiate the press from Dan Burn. So he goes to press that first time. Before this actually happens, I forgot to mention James Maddison is already on a yellow card. and Basuma's also on a yellow card, and he fouled. Both of them fouled Joe Linton in the build up to this. So now, after Son, as you can see by my arrow, is pressed, Maddison decides that he should press him now. But you can see the distance between him and Joe Linton, for me, as Marlon was saying, is too far.
He's never going to get that ball.
Yeah, he's never going to get it. He's never going to get it. He's too far from the press, in my opinion. And then what you're seeing here next is Joe Linton turns him. Joe Linton turns him. And I think Maddison should be running from out to in. So that cover shadow stops Joe Linton from turning into that side. You're making your mind up early if you're running straight, because you can see he's turned him because he hasn't run on an angle. I think also...
Can I just say on that point? Can I just say on that point? He's probably at that point thinking, I'm going to come off soon, and he's trying to show willing by pressing for the ball to stay on the pitch at that point, because it was like late into the second half of the game, right?
Yeah. It's that. Yeah, it's
probably
really late.
I don't want to come off the pitch, so I don't know, man.
And you can see the bit just before that, the image that you showed before that. Him and Kulusevski are pretty much standing next to each other, right? And Son is going to do the press, but not one of them has thought, oh, Son's doing the press, let me get on Joe Linton so he can't play that pass.
Yeah.
And so, as you've said there, Maddison comes at him with such the wrong angle and just gets bullied off the ball.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about all this, by the way. I'm not worried about this bit. I can't wait for you to get to this next bit. This for me happens week in, week out, up and down the country.
You know what it is? I just like a bit of context. So I like to see.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I love all this, but
you know what I'm saying.
Look how high up the pitch they are. There should be a million things stopping them between there and our goal that doesn't happen. But
So all right. So next bit, right? So I think this player here behind Basuma, what he does is he kind of walks behind them, because there's an argument to say, should Basuma be higher up the pitch? Remember at the start, I said Basuma's playing close to the back line. But basically what happens is that guy that I've just shown, he goes in Basuma's peripheral. So he goes behind him. So Basuma's in two minds. Do I go up and press or cover that amount of ground, even though I'm like too far away from it? Or do I stay close to my my centre backs and my full backs? Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, from there, the next phase is could Romero be more aggressive? Because that's what he was meant to be doing, being the aggressive one, and step up. If he steps up and he communicates to Basuma from early, then maybe Basuma goes down and he comes across that bit where everyone's talking about he should be blocking that passing lane. Maybe that happens, but Romero, for me, his body shape is quite square on, and I think he switches off personally. I'll be real. So the argument was, we were saying was Dragusin playing? Was he playing these boys off? But Dragusin starts to make that run from here. You can see, look, this guy comes in, as I said before, and because he pulls off wide, he occupies Basuma's vision. So he stops him from making a decision. He stops him from making that decision where I said he should be there. Then this is the golden nugget right here. So was Dragusin, this was the debate, was Dragusin scared of Isak's pace and that's why he went a bit early? Or was it that Romero should have been a bit more proactive and aggressive, and should he have stepped up a bit earlier and pressed my man and allowed Basuma to cut off the passing lane? Either way, it's a catalogue of errors, and Romero gets caught flat-footed. Dragusin, obviously, you can see the line I've drawn there. If Dragusin doesn't go early, Isak's offside, and that's preventable. But also another critique, and this is for Postecoglou, should he have adapted, knowing that he hasn't got a Van der Ven, and this is Sava's point, should we have dropped the line a couple yards? And is Postecoglou's system dependent on players? Is it dependent on quality? Do you understand? And if that's the case, and he can't adapt and he's not in a tactical, then is there problems further down the line? That's what I was going to ask. But yeah,
he's not intelligent enough to adapt.
I don't think it's It's too hard. Like it's quite.
As much as I don't like Ben Davies, right? I would have probably tried to shore it up a bit. Put Ben. It's the only option we've got, right, as a defender. Three at the back. Put him on that left side of the back three. Sure.
Ben Davies got no pace. He's got no pace.
Sorry? I know he's got no pace. But at least he can drop a yard or two back, if you know what I mean. With
but then the instruction of the manager is to squeeze the pitch.
Yeah, but then what I'm saying is
line to basically, like I was shown in the other clips, was to press the team in numbers and win the ball high up so we're closer to their goal mouth, and then we get a chance on their goal. That's the tactic.
Changing the tactics up. Sorry, Deji. What I'm saying is changing the tactics up mid-game. I'm not saying implementing Davies in this tactic in particular, right? Being able to change, like I saw a classic example, right? I think it was Man City against West Ham, the last game. Tactically, he had to switch it up second half. He switched it up.
They were going right through the middle of Man City
because he's a proper manager.
Can I just ask something though?
Saw what was going on, you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I think there's another thing here. So I think you're right, Ash. I think it's dependent on the player. I was saying that on a stream earlier that I think it has to be precise. These 11 players have to play for things to be okay, type of thing. But the other thing that I'm slightly worried about, and I picked up on this in the Leicester game, I think our issue at the back is Romero, because there's a third dimension to this. Dragoson's made the run. Romero needs to follow that man. He needs to make the run. He's static here. He should be anticipating that there's a through ball coming, and he's still looking at the ball when he should be making the run that Dragoson's making. Maybe then he cuts out the pass. So for me, and if you look at the Leicester game as well, a lot of people were blaming Pedro Porro, and I was like, but where was Romero? If that's Saliba, that doesn't happen. If that's Gabriel, that doesn't happen. Maybe there's something about Romero.
Edgy, I completely agree with you for once. I completely agree with you.
Boy,
I think.
Stop that.
No, sorry, it doesn't do good for viewing figures, does it? It doesn't do good for viewing figures.
We just dropped that 100 after that.
Sorry, it's my fault. I should not have done it.
Can I just say the worrying thing here is, first of all, if you are going to play a high line on a halfway line, which I just think is bananas anyway, right? It's absolutely crazy. It does mean, like you said just now, Ash, it needs to be 100% perfect every time. This is the thing. There's no room for error. That's the problem that you've got is if you're going to play a high line on a halfway line, when your two fullbacks are actually inverted into central midfielders, straight away you're at a disadvantage. Not in this scenario, but straight away you're at a disadvantage because most of the time they're high up the pitch anyway. Second of all, Van der Ven, you would say, would probably cover this if he wasn't there. That's a worry that we've got one tactic that the moment Van der Ven is out, everyone's shitting themselves in the Spurs fan base. It's like, oh my God, who's going to cover? But the most worrying thing for me, and backing up Deji's point here, is when this is actually shown on video, I don't mind that players make mistakes, right? Players make mistakes. And Romero, you would have to assume, is the only one facing away. They're all facing their own goal. So you would have to assume that unless the other three are all idiots, right, you'd have to assume that Romero's got it wrong. My worry is when you watch this back in real time, look where Tonali is, right? Just by the ref.
Yeah.
As they track back for the goal, Romero's jogging. Right? Romero is, I promise you, it is like a leisurely jog to the point where one of our players, I think it's Basuma, and Tonali both pass Romero as they're all sprinting towards the goal. And when the ball goes in, Ash, Romero's not even in our D. He hasn't even busted gut to get back. Now, that tells me one of two things. One, that he's just completely switched off or he's forgotten that Van der Ven's not there. Or two, and because of what Deji said, because he did this a few times at Leicester as well, I think he's switching off a bit. And this will be where Deji won't agree with me. I don't know if Romero does not like playing this style, because for Argentina and how he played with Atalanta as well, he was in a proper defensive unit that defended, right? Like they're compact, they're
In a
tight.
back three.
And in this scenario, he's constantly being asked to push into midfield. He must be getting so bored of having to chase balls over the top. But I think Romero's got a lot to answer for. And I know fans don't like it when you criticize Romero.
No, I think I agree with you.
I think he should have, if he's the captain, he's the defensive captain, he should, as that ball before this picture, when they're all on the halfway line, Romero should be the one saying, right, we all go or we all stay. Romero should be calling that. He's the defensive captain. Secondly, you've got to bust a gut to get back. Thirdly, if he's going to keep doing this, right, at what point do you turn around and go, okay, well, Dragusin's got to be given a go? Like, that's the point of why you buy these squad players, right? Yeah. I think he's a liability right now. I really do.
Look, Saba, look, this is going to be 2 times I've agreed with you in this show. So this already is already box office stuff. You know, 2 agreements. For me, I actually called it out before the season started. I said to the horror of Spurs fans that my main worry this season is Romero, and that I think he's a liability. Most of that was because I felt that he probably wouldn't be on the pitch for most games anyway, and that costs us. But when you look at the Leicester game, when you look at the Newcastle game, what I've described is he just, like you said, I don't know if it's boredom. He just is thinking about his dinner. He literally has a moment where he's thinking about something else. He's not fully focused on the game. And that's why I came out to say, if there's any debate about Romero and Saliba, if that's Saliba, he doesn't switch off. That is the difference.
Deji, do you know what?
It's Saliba.
Deji, do you know what, right? I made a point on my show the other day that I watched the Man United-Liverpool game, and Man United were Liverpool were 3-0 up, right? And it was like the 92nd, 93rd minute of the game. Man United attacked down the right in clear space. Three Liverpool players sprinted from the halfway line to go and get that guy as though they were defending that clean sheet for their life. Yeah. Then you watch this. Now, no matter who was wrong here, whether it's Dragusin, whether it's Maddison, whether it's Romero, the jogging back towards his own goal is criminal. I'm sorry, that is absolute. That is not a leader in any way, shape, or form. And Dragusin should have been looked after better than that, considering this is only his 6th start for Tottenham Hotspur. So I agree with you.
I was going to say, going back to my original point, like I call it a cat and dog. So you've got one that's a cat. He's kind of more like the way he defends. He kind of like does more recovery runs, kind of sits off the defender, and then makes those like last ditch tackles if he needs to, etc. So that's like the Van der Ven, the Dragusin in this particular instance. I thought, as I said before, that Romero was meant to be the enforcer. Hence why, as you said before, he goes into midfield, he wins the ball up, high up, and he engages with the player, and he's proactive. But he's neither proactive or reactive in either of these scenarios, which is a bit of a barrier.
Can I be controversial? I want to say it here live and direct. I think the better centre-back partnership would be Dragusin and Van der Ven.
I agree.
Dragusin's got the aggression. He can play that role forward. You need that. And that's why Isak wasn't as mobile in that first half. I think if we see Romero out and Dragusin comes in, I think it's just travesty that he doesn't get on, because I agree that with Dragusin and someone of that quality, we should be playing through at the back. But I think that would probably be a better.
Does anyone think that, because I've heard this quite a bit, like people talk about back threes, but lately everyone's saying they should play Romero because he's good on the ball as a 6, as a DM.
Not for me. He switches off too much.
Not for me either. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Anyway, I'm going to carry on.
I want Rodri.
We're not getting Rodri. You're delusional. Anyway.
No, and we've got that American dude that we've got first priority on because of Lo Celso.
Oh yeah, the one who's going to be
Lads. But yeah, what's this scenario here? Oh, it's another. Oh yeah, that was a goal. Oh yeah, sorry.
It's a goal.
Yes, end up scoring a goal. But basically, the next slide, it's almost done, guys. Basuma finding Porro in space. Porro, what does he do next? I'm saying, boom, throw that ball into Johnson, innit? I know people don't like him, but he got 10 assists for a reason, innit? And I'm not a fan of Johnson. I think he's an impact player at best. But I'm seeing him numerous amount of times in the right space so he can fire it across in that 6-yard box, and then we do that tapping that we always do. But Porro holds on to the ball, bro. He holds on to it. He ignores him. He don't rate him. He goes inside. He chooses the wrong option. Once again, it finally does break to Johnson, but by then it's too late. Do you know what I'm saying? He fires the ball, and then Newcastle do a good job of defending that box. Do you know what I mean? Son's learned his lesson, says, I need to be in that 6-yard box now, but it's too little, too late. Do you know what I'm saying? He understands the assignment. The next clip again, Kulu. He's got 2 options. How many slides am I doing? And these aren't counted as big chances. You know why? Because we're not creating them. We're not that final decision making. Can that be improved? That's up for debate. Anyway, Kulu, like I said in those arrows, he's got a choice. He takes too long, in my opinion, to pull the trigger. And that's why in this next clip, you can see now there's bodies in the box. When he had it earlier, if you played it earlier, that's on. It's on. But now it's not on. He's got the ball. He's taking long. He's pondering. Johnson, again, I'm saying, Johnson, what are you doing centrally? Because he's thinking, I'm not getting the ball out wide. Let me go central. No, my brother, stay out wide, innit? He's decided to jump in the middle and dance, or jump in the middle and skank. He gets the ball now. Ball drops to him, and it's on the half volley, and he decides to go for the inside of his boot, and he gets underneath it, and it goes over the bar. And it's like, oh, Johnson, man, oh, come on, that's not your game, bro. Again, now Johnson does all right here. He actually gets the ball, carries it up this flank, beats the man for once, beats Gordon, travels down that flank. He's running down with it, and I'm like, boom, Son, get inside here. What Son do? Oh my Lord, what does Son do, bro? Hey, look, Johnson's head down. Wait, now look, this is the debate. Everyone's like, no, Johnson, get your head up. And I agree. Johnson, get your head up, because look, if he's peeling off, like, you could find him. But this angle shows 1 brother, 2 brother, 3 brother. Look, 3 magpies, 3 black and white brothers there. You know what I'm saying? Mickey Mouse in there, zebras in that section. Can he really cut it back? Would that be a wise decision? Because the angle, the path is blocked. But the fact that I don't like that his head's not up, because I've say, look, if that ball's not on and he's not there, can you hold on to it and recycle it?
Ash,
Go.
Bang on. If that was Bernardo Silva,
I was just thinking that. I didn't want to say it.
Or if that was Bernardo Silva, Foden or Grealish, what they would have done there, you can see all them, they're running to the ball. He would have checked back, little Cruyff turn or something, and he would have laid it off to Kulusevski. But he fires it across. I don't know.
So to answer this, right? Because this goes back to, there was a game last season, right? And this goes down to Ange's tactics. The reason why Son has pulled back is because whoever he's trying to create space. Now the problem then becomes, which Ange's tactics are, the guy, and this goes down, and I blame this on Ange, goes to that guy coming in at the far left-hand picture, not busting the gut to get in that box. Because Timo Werner scored the exact same goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I can't remember who it was against. When Johnson came on, right? And he literally, this is the exact same picture was laid. Yeah, the same thing. But that time, Johnson literally was between the right. Is it Murphy and is it Kraft? Right. Yeah. So he was between them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I can't remember who we played, but it was when we won 3-1. It might have been Palace. It was Palace. Right. Yeah. So that's where this is where this tactic comes from. Because at the end of the day, you lot are talking about, when you lot say Bernardo Silva, Jack Inch, they are very good players. They are intelligent. You are now talking about a man of form, Brendan Johnson, who's only good for one thing, which is this. In this situation, this is where Brendan Johnson comes into his own. He can play balls across that box and is very good at it. So the biggest issue here is, right, Son makes the run because I can't see who the centre back is, I think, but he's going to then go, oh crap, Son, because in his head, Son is the best one of the best finishers. Yeah, he's thinking, I've got to come back, Son, which cuts out that space. So these 3 here all get caught up following the ball. So this for me is on Timo Werner, right? Werner.
I hear your point. Hit that ball across the box. Werner should get that. My
Werner
thing
should
is
be in there.
Controversial, and I've said this in one of my WhatsApp groups. I said, raw, boom. You see that Maddison used to play for Leicester, right wing, right mid. I reckon if Maddison's in that position and we have more players that had their head up type of style players in that position, he gets that byline and he holds and waits. and he cuts back, because I've seen him do it on the left. I've seen him do it on the opposite side and do that.
But you're talking about an intelligent player here. This is not an intelligent player. You are talking about Brennan Johnson. This is where everyone's got to understand the situation, because you're not talking about an intelligent player like Jack Grealish, Bernardo Silva, James Maddison. Yes, they will do that. You're talking about Brennan Johnson. His goal to come into Spurs in every single game is to play that ball across the box. That's what he was brought in for, right?
Agreed.
And that's exactly why I look at this situation and go, you're not going to get that from Brennan Johnson, right? You could have this 9 times out of 10. Brennan Johnson is not going to cut back. He has been told by Ange to cross that ball into the box, because that's what we see in the training videos. For me, right? So actually, for me, Brennan Johnson has done exactly what his managers told him to do. Unfortunately, for us, we would like to see a better player in that position, where you say James Maddison or someone like that who's going to cut it back. But in this situation, what the hell is Timo Werner doing that far out when we're in the box?
You're right. It's Werner's fault.
I can't. Ange signed all these forwards other than Son. This is This is why I've got no sympathy for the man.
But,
he signed a bunch of poor forwards, and then people go, "If we could finish our dinner, well, you can't if you don't play proper players."
So for me, Son makes the right run. Right, Son peels back because he sees that if he goes to the far, he probably gets the 2 players coming in, which cuts out that space. Right, so he does the intelligent thing, as he did last against Palace. He pulls back because the 2 defenders are going, oh crap, that's Sonny, right? If an intelligent player, they're not thinking about it's Brennan Johnson, they're thinking more about Sonny, right? So they're going, oh crap, if the ball comes back to Sonny, he's in space, right? So this is why this whole thing is on Timo Werner, because he hasn't busted a gut to get. Why is it only 2 people are in that box, which are at the front 3, not all 3? And that's why. That's how I'm looking at it. Like I can see where you guys are coming from, but I'm talking. This is why.
No, you're right.
BJ, the benefit of the doubt.
You've called it right, bro. That's exactly. They talk about when
if everyone in the chat, after this episode, just go and watch the game against Palace where we beat them at home 3-1, and this exact same situation came up, but we scored it.
That's handball. That's handball. Yeah, no. What I was gonna say is, and I've forgotten now. But I think the argument is it's cool. I think the argument is that what everyone says is, if Solanke or even a Richarlison's there, they're gonna be in that area and they're gonna put that in the net. Do you know what I'm saying? Or they're gonna at least.
But that's not that. Yeah, again, that's not necessarily true, because Solanke and Richarlison both played against Leicester. They were getting the same chances. They missed them.
That's what I mean.
Do you know what I think it is, Ash? Do you know what I think it is, Ash?
No, man.
Right? I think it's just, if I try and say it as common as possible, this style of football is just a bit chaotic. I think it's a little bit chaotic, and when we talk about players being in what positions, we break forward so quickly. Like everything's done 100 miles per hour. If you watch the better teams, they know when to slow the attack down and bring others into the game. They know when to put their foot on it, and they know whether to go sideways, go forwards, go in the channels, go to the centre forward. We just seem to have one mode of breakneck speed down the wings, and that's fine. But the problem is, like Marlon said, against Leicester, we had so many men in the box that they're almost getting in each other's way. Richarlison was in Solanke's way, and Kulu was in there, and this player's in there, and Werner was in there. I just think sometimes we need, and this is where I think we needed a 6, somebody to get the ball in midfield and go, you know what? Let me put my foot on it, right? Let me put my foot on it. Let's get a bit of shape here.
It's never hard. What's that got to do? Look, Kulu's in. Look, come on, that's a simple ball, bro.
I'm not saying.
I hear what you're saying. No, I know what you mean. Sorry,
I'm not saying in this particular moment.
I'm
just saying when people keep saying it's too easy an excuse when people go, well, we didn't.
Wouldn't you say James Maddison could do that, and so can Bergvall? Wouldn't you say Bergvall was?
I've not seen Bergvall do it. Maddison, yes. Bergvall for me. I mean, we haven't seen I need to see him properly. Not 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there.
Fair enough. I thought Bergvall's meant to be that, and I think The thing is, the reason why, because I don't know about you lot, I feel like Maddison has been playing a bit better this season, but I reckon the reason why he's up tools is because he knows the young G's behind him, and everyone's raving about him. Like, you know what I'm saying, rah, I've got to pull my shirt off.
The
pull
thing
my
is,
socks.
everyone might be raving about him, but the manager that bought them and everyone that's convinced it's a youth project, he doesn't start any of them. And 40 million generational Archie Gray didn't even get on the pitch.
Yeah,
Like,
no, Arch.
I listen. Look. All I know is
That is mad.
we're going to score goals, right, Ash? We're going to score goals. Most of our goals will come against the lesser teams. That's just the way we are. But I think this was this again. I've said this for 24 years with this chairman. This was the summer where you think if you get a proper technical forward and a proper right winger, Spurs could be bloody dangerous. And this is why.
Forward.
Right. This is why when people are saying, Sava, why don't you trust in the process? Have patience. Well, we've just signed loads of young players that are going to be here for years and years and years, which blocks the path to bringing in better footballers. For me, if we had anything about us, we would have brought in a top right winger, a top centre forward, and a number 6, and really, really gone about our business. We didn't. We've put our faith in Brennan Johnson, Odegaard, Werner, Solomon's, Valises. You know, it's just all a bit. I don't know. I don't think we're scary. And so the last thing I'll say before I shut up, Ash, I think the last thing I'll say is that this is why teams do this against us. You saw it from the first minute, right? Stell messaged me from the first minute of this game, and he sent me a freeze frame and said, look how they've already dropped into a back 5 when we're going forward, because they know we can't break down a low block. And he said all they're going to do is hit on a counter. And that is how a lot of teams are going to play against Spurs. And I don't think that the Johnsons, the Werners, the Cool, I don't think these players are good enough to know how to break that down. It's just my opinion, and we'll see. I just don't think they are.
But what I'm saying is, all those clips I showed, look, how many clips did I show you guys where we're literally in the transition moment, and these brothers just keep picking the wrong pass and doing the wrong move in attacking, where you're like, bro, like. And also, these things we were doing last season. So what's really going on here? Like, do you understand? So for me, I see why some fans, because look, that's why I had to bring up the pictures, because I was like, when you bring up the stats won't count that as a big chance. And rightly so. And rightly so, because it's not a big chance, because we didn't make it. Do you know what I mean? But I think fans are looking at that and saying, rah, as the season progresses, is it possible that we start to improve in our attacking returns and start to score? You said it yourself, we will score more goals. The defensive issues will be the defensive issues. But I think the way he plays, he wants to outscore the opposition, and we need 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4 to win those games. But my issue, like yours, Sava, is for me, Ange ain't really a tactical, in my opinion. He needs players. He needs good players in his system for his system to thrive. And Van der Ven was, for me, an incident of that. And then, on the right wing, we didn't really get the right winger or the right wide.
Don't you think? Right? Don't you think the worry is this? For everyone saying that we dominated and we deserved the win, blah blah blah. First of all, I don't know if you can deserve a win when you're that poor going forward. Let's be brutally honest. When you're making all those bad choices, I don't think you deserve to win, right? But my concern is that every team is going to try and do to us. We saw it last season. Every team. Look, okay, let me put it like this, Ash. If you're the coach of any team that are playing Tottenham Hotspur on the weekend, right? What are you doing all week in training? You are saying, right, soak it up, and hit those channels. And if you don't hit the channels, wait for that through ball when they're on the halfway line. Every team is doing it to us. Leicester did it to us. With a 37-year-old Jamie Vardy. Newcastle did it only a couple of times, but one scored. The other one, Vicario made a save. I think teams know we're going to have the football. And that's why I don't understand when fans say, but we dominated. I think teams are going to let us have the football. I don't think that's a sign of us dominating.
Can I just say
one question before you come in, because Deji needs to go. Deji, you there? Dej. Yo, Dej. Go on. I got one question for him, but go on, Has, go on.
I was just. Oh, do you want to go to Deji or?
He's here now.
Yeah.
One question before you go. Actually, go on, Has. Go Has first. You go first. Go on.
No, what I was going to say is we used to do this to Man City, if you remember back in the day.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cut the pressure, and then the days of Alderweireld and Vertonghen, and then we just used to hit them on the break. Son, Kane on the break, bang, done. So this is what's been done to us now. So it's nothing, we haven't seen before.
Yeah,
and he's not counted it. He's not counted it.
He's not counted it. No, he's
not counted it. I was expecting a proper number 6 to come in and say, right, okay, there's a level of protection. Well, I say I was expecting it. I really weren't, but you know what I mean. Like, this is what he should have done.
But every time I keep on hearing, Ange doesn't play with a 6. Ange doesn't play with a 6. But look, we've got no one that can control the game from that midfield. We've got no one that has a footballing brain that can say, right, I'm going to slow this down a little bit. I'm gonna, pick my passes. I'm gonna, there's nothing like that at the club at the moment. We've got Bissouma who gets, his advances too far forward. We've got Maddison who's a number 10. He can't drop deep all the time. And then you've got Sarr who, I'm sorry, but currently this season he's showing that he's really not that good. And I'm hoping maybe he might come good, but I don't know. Yeah, one good game every 5 games for me is not what we need. We need consistency. One game every 5 games is not that. Sorry.
Yeah. Now I was gonna ask Deji quickly, about the NLD real quick before he goes, innit? Because I know he's got a cut. Obviously, Rice and them, Couscous and them, are missing, innit? So I wanted to know if he thinks he can get a result at the NLD. Odegaard as well. What do you think of Odegaard as a signing? I want to know.
First and foremost, I think based on what we've been talking about this evening, look, I totally agree with what everyone's saying. We do need better quality players. We should have got in the likes of Eze and co. If we had done that, definitely would be feeling a lot more comfortable. In terms of Odegaard, I like him. I like the fact that he's willing to do 1v1. I know he's young, and we can work on his end product. But in terms of what he's thinking, in terms of the threat, he's more of a threat than Timo Werner. Timo Werner is just like, you might as well just shoot yourself in the head. North London derby, they don't have Basmati Rice. And they were saying that Basmati was the reason why we got the draw at the Emirates. Look, if Van der Ven is there and Solanke's there, I think we could win the game. Probably 2-1. Arsenal will have opportunities, but I think the key for me is the concentration. I think the stuff that you pulled out, Saba, the stuff that you were saying, we're not busting the gut. If we start busting the gut, maybe it's not as bad as it looks, but we need our players to be they need to be switched on. For me, more concerning than anything else is the lapse in concentration. Footballers are supposed to be concentrating for the full time they're on the pitch, and having moments like this is just really, it's rubbish, really. Top players don't do that. So for me, I think we can squeeze out a 2-1 win. I think just the motivation, the atmosphere, we're a home crowd, and also they should be hurting if they're professional players. They should be hurting from this defeat, and at least the very minimum they should be giving us a draw against Arsenal. But I'm going for the win.
Deji, before you go, just tell everyone where they can find you, and also what you've got coming up on Spurs Kings TV later on down the line.
Yeah, so look, next week on Spurs Kings TV, I'll be doing what we call is the blueprint, where we kind of digest the last 4 games, which has not been great. Hopefully we get a win against Arsenal, and then we're looking forward to the next 4 games. And then, I'll be doing I don't know what I'm doing because it's likely that I'm going to be with some Arsenal fans for the game, so I have a watch along. And for the rest of this week, I will just be debating and slapping up as many people defending my club. No, jokes aside, I will just be streaming.
Hey, I need you tomorrow, bro. I need you tomorrow still. There's a couple of Newcastle fans that are talking reckless, so
yeah, and tune tactics, mate, to put him in a body bag. Yeah, but I'm around.
Yeah. And as before we even went out, there will be a Deji Savage show. We'll make sure it happens. We'll make sure we'll put them in contact with each other, right? Because you just got the preview tonight. Preview, but they will have.
I truly believe facts and welcome to Facts and Feelings, episode 3. I think it sounds great, man. I think it sounds great.
No, thank you, Deji. Thank you.
Big up,
Yeah,
Deji.
big one. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Nice one, Deji.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
So let's talk about the NLD since you brought it up, Ash. What is everyone's feelings going into that in 2 weeks? Will Rice make a difference? Being missing.
You know what? Go on. You first.
Because Deji did mention something. Everyone did mention last year. The only reason why we did get the 2-2 draw was because Rice came off at half time, and a lot of Arsenal fans did go with that narrative, right, at the time. But will it make a difference this year?
You know what's interesting? I don't know if he's gonna go gun ho again. And what do you guys think? Do you think he should go with Kulu and Maddison again? Because when we had Kulu and Maddison versus Maddison and Sarr in the midfield, we controlled the game a lot better against Newcastle. I know it's Arsenal, it's a different ball game, but do you think that would be a mistake by having two attacking eights, pushing for it? Or do you think we should be a little bit more pragmatic? I know he's not a pragmatic manager, but should Sarr be in that position in midfield, or Bentancur alongside a Basuma? What do you lot think? That's what I want to know in terms of this North London derby. Not whether we will win or not, but what's the midfield we should go into it for? Anyone can start, man. That was a rubbish question. Sorry. I know what's going on.
I don't think we've got any solidity in the midfield, to be honest. Like I said, we'll play Maddison, we'll play Basuma, and we'll probably play Sarr. Whether we start Kulu in the middle with Maddison and Basuma, I just think it's not going to work, is it? Let's be honest. In terms of Arsenal midfield that they're going to probably go with, they've got Thomas Partey, Odegaard, and they'll probably put the likes of either Jorginho or maybe push Havertz in there as well, because they'll look to press us from the midfield as well.
Because I've heard that from when you hear some of the Arsenal fans are calling for to put Havertz back and it's Havertz and Odegaard and have Sterling play up front. Yeah, apparently.
I've heard that as well. But
whether Arteta's going to do that or not is I don't think he will. But the other question is, who's he going to start on the left? Will he start Martinelli or Trossard? Because
I think it'll go
Trossard weren't great at the weekend on the left when he started. He's been better when he comes on.
But he does love to score against us. He's got a good scoring record against us, even when he was at Brighton.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. Look, guys, I don't think. I think they're going to turn us over. If I'm being honest with you, that everyone's making this big deal out of. I know it adds an extra dimension to it. Rice being out, not being in that midfield, but I don't think Rice is the be all and end all of that team. To be honest, the way they play as a unit, the way they're playing at the moment under Arteta, the fluidity of their attacks.
So do you think they sit back like they did, like just sit back in a low block, or do you think they try to dominate?
They can if they want to. If they want to sit back and break.
But I don't look on this point, right? And I don't think Savile will agree with me on this, but Arsenal haven't really been at their best for the 3 games that they've had this season, right? So, and what I mean by that, because I've actually been watching them, right? Against Wolves, there was 2 chances. Raya made a great save off a header, right? And then there was, is it Kuhn? I can't remember if it was Kuhn or where Raya plays it to Saliba and Saliba gives it. So Wolves missed 2 gilt-edged chances before Arsenal then went 2-0 up in that game. Right? Aston Villa missed, let's be honest, Watkins misses 2 great chances at 0-0, which on another day, he possibly scores. Yeah. Who did they play at the weekend? I forgot. I forget. And then obviously, and then Brighton, they were good in the first half. Admittedly, they were good in the first half. But once the sending off happens, I think Brighton kind of then took control, which you know, you give or take. But for me, Arsenal good defensively still. Don't get me wrong, but they haven't been for me as solid as they looked last year. And we played them very early on last year, again, where they started off quite slowly before they got into their rhythm. So my hope in all this is that
Get a point.
because they haven't got into the rhythm yet, that actually I personally think we might be able to get a point at this stage because we're playing them quite early on. Where last year, when we played them towards the back end, because we were so terrible anyway, and Arsenal had hit the form, that's why I think if we can catch them at the right time, which is now, I think we possibly could get something. But that's only because I've only watched them. I have watched them in the last two and a half games because I didn't watch the second half against Brighton, admittedly, but I watched them against Wolves and Villa, and I just think if Raya in the first two games actually made some good saves at vital points, which kind of then took them over the line, and then Arsenal finished them off like Arsenal should. Where Manchester City, I think, have kind of been a bit more clinical and I've been playing slightly better than Arsenal. But it's too early on to decide which way it's going to go. And that's for me, I'm going to openly admit this. I personally think Arsenal might win the league this season.
Yeah, I said it from the start of the season, by the way. But for me,
I know Sam's on City.
I think they'll win it by. I think they'll win it by more points this year.
Listen, they're missing Rodri. Yeah, they're missing. Who else? They're missing. They're missing the defender.
Would you see who didn't play the other day?
Foden. Bro, they're missing some
Rodri, Walker, Stones, Ake, and they're still rolling past people, man. They're too good. They're too good.
Yeah. I think Jordan makes. I can't even get it up now. My thing's frozen. But Jordan makes. He's saying that Arsenal are not getting punished for this season as much as we would get punished right now when we give up those chances. And that just seems to be the thing. Arsenal not getting punished. But there might be a point. But there might be a point when they might get punished for this. I don't know.
Yeah, but not from the club that we've just said had 20 chances and couldn't score against Newcastle. Right. Look, I think it's a difficult one, right? On paper, they are. You know, I know football's not played on paper, but they are superior to us all over the pitch. I don't care what anyone says. Arsenal are superior to us with their goalkeeper is a million miles better than ours. Their back four is a million miles better. Their midfield is brilliant. Yes, we'll talk about Rice in a minute. And their forward line, they've got options. And I'm seeing people in the chat saying, well, the thing about Arsenal is they're not clinical. And I just looked, they got 91 goals last year. I mean, if that's not clinical, I feel like a lot of these things are said to make ourselves feel better and cope. Like, do you know what I mean? It's coping mechanisms. Do you know, it's like when your other half leaves you and you just trash talk them because it couldn't be anything I've done. It's them. But look, I think the thing with Arsenal is, what I like about them, and I'm Spurs, but as a football fan, what I like when I watch them, they're so organised. They're organised all over the pitch, and they have that ability. They can slow a game down. You watch sometimes there's 5-10 minute periods where Arsenal slow it down. Thomas Partey, Odegaard, Rice, they'll just have their foot on the ball, and they, pod and probe.
He looks a bit like an uncle lately.
Yeah. But my point is this. They also have those spells where they dominate. So against Villa, for example, when I watched them, they had times in the game where they were happy to sit in. They were happy to sit in and let Villa attack. And then in the second half, it was wave after wave after wave of attack. We don't have that versatility. And it's like, so someone in the chat's just said tactically versatile. We don't have that. And I think Arteta and his team now are mature. I think they know when to play, when not to. I think they know they're probably going to come out and have an opening 5 minutes of us going mad and running at them. I think as they settle into the game, I think they'll start to dominate it. Now, when I say dominate, I'm not one of these that thinks, we had 70% possession, we dominated. You can have a lot of the football without doing anything with the football, right? I think Arsenal have got the blueprint of how to get in behind that back line with the ball over the top to Saka, to Havertz, to Martinelli, to Jesus. And if I was them, I'll tell you what I would do to beat Spurs. This is what I would do if I was an Arsenal manager.
Tell him.
I'd play Saka to the right and I'd play Raheem Sterling to the left. And I would literally just say to them, keep pinging the ball over the top to these two quick guys. That's all I would do, because that is the blueprint on how to beat Tottenham Hotspur. But I'm not saying we can't grab a point. I don't see it. I don't see that we're playing. You know, when we're saying Arsenal aren't at full throttle, let's be brutally honest. If Arsenal hadn't had the man sent off, you're looking at Arsenal 3 wins from 3 and probably not conceding a goal. Right? They've conceded 1 goal this season when they're down to 10 men. But for me, we're going to have to be disciplined, organised, and he's got to drop that defence 10 yards. He's got to drop that defence 10 yards. If he doesn't against Arsenal, these better clubs will put us to the sword. I'm sorry, they will. They did last season. The back end of last season, we saw Liverpool got 4 against us. Arsenal got 3. Chelsea got 2. Newcastle got 4. Like, it was just sort of like, Man City beat us comfortably. You know, it's just, look, I think a draw, if you offer me a draw right now, I'm biting your hand off for it. I'm biting your hand off for a draw. I think it will be 3-1 Arsenal.
Do you think if Spurs get a result there, fans will give Ange more time? Do you know what I'm saying? Because at the moment,
of course they will, because it's Arsenal. The emotion will take away.
That's what I mean. Will it change the narrative? Because at the moment, there's a lot of fans Ange out, get him out of the club. I
think it's consistency.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So if like a positive result at home against against obviously Arsenal, and then you know what I'm saying, that goes on. We've got Brentford after that, innit?
Yeah. Look, I mean, we've got a tough run of games. You know, after Brentford, you've got Man United. Then I don't know in the exact order, but in that run of games, you've got Palace away, you've got West Ham, you've got Villa, you've got City. You know, there's some tough games in there. But this is a real defining game for Spurs, by the way, because if we don't get anything from this game, lads, it's a really bad start to the season. Because if I'd said to any of you guys, Spurs' first 2 games are going to be Everton and Leicester, like me, I went 6 points. It's got to be 6 points, right?
That's why Ange was holding his knees, bro.
Right.
That's why he went over like a bad beat. That reason.
Not to get the 6 points, then to go to Newcastle and not even take a point. The pressure now on this North London derby is massive, because if you lose that, there's a lot of games that are, I don't think this is a word, but a lot of losable games. Is that a word? There's a lot of losable. I'm going to go with it. There's a lot of losable games if you're not in form. However, you win that game against Arsenal, a little bit of confidence. Suddenly, some of those games start looking a little bit more winnable. So I think this is a really big game, not just the scoreline, but how we play as well. What we don't want to see is Tottenham get to a second half and capitulate. We've capitulated against Leicester second half, Newcastle second half. Last season, we capitulated against everyone second half. We've got to, for me, just not gung-ho, keep it, you know what I mean? Mix up the tactics a little bit and we'll see. That's who we are. But like last season, Ash, this is the problem. This is the mindset of the Spurs fans last season was shocking, right? First of all, it was, and I will get to the Arsenal game. First of all, it was, you know, we won at life when Chelsea beat us 4-1. You know, there was all of that. People going, oh, I love that Kulu said we won at life. That's brilliant. We should have all been fuming. Chelsea battered us 4-1 by hook or crook. Then, when we got to the Arsenal game, we're 3-0 down in 40 minutes, 35 minutes? And all everyone talked about was second half. Oh, we pulled it back to 3-2. We were 3-0 down in North London derby. Anything after that, I don't care. So we've got to make sure we're a bit tighter.
with a team that only had 37% of possession that day.
Who they did?
That's all they had, and they were 3-0 up already.
Well, look at the Saka. Look at the Saka goal.
Lot. Yeah,
Marlon, look at that Saka goal in that game. If ever you've got a blueprint of how to score against Spurs, that Saka goal, we were attacking, broke down.
But Sava, do you remember that week though? Everyone, because we all knew Ben Davies was going to start, and we all said, right, and this is what I think annoyed everybody, is please don't leave Ben Davies one-on-one with Saka. Right? Forget the set pieces for a second, because we all said about the corners, but don't leave Ben Davies with Saka. Okay, yes, it should have been a penalty before that. Kulu does get fouled. It is what it is. But you still leave your team in that situation, because if you don't get it, you kind of just have to you don't switch off. You're told to play until the whistle goes, right? And they did, but the problem is you still left yourself in that situation where Saka was one-on-one.
But he didn't learn,
Ben Davies.
Marlon, he didn't learn from that, because then was it a week or 2 weeks later when we played Liverpool away, he left. Yeah. He put Emerson Royale to left back to be one-on-one with Mo Salah, and when you're sitting there going, "Come on, man." I would be tempted, guys. I'm going to mix it up. I would be tempted this weekend, or whenever we play them. I would put Van der Ven to left back, and have Dragusin in centre half. And I think Mickey Van der Ven comfortably, so not comfortably, I think he'll enjoy that race with Saka. And I think he's the better defender than a doggy. That's just what I would do, but that's just me.
Go on.
Yeah, no, the dynamic for me is the timing of this game as well, because the dynamics of this game can change through this international break. We've got players going out on international duty, likewise for them as well. We can still have players coming back injured. So, we don't know what's going to happen, what the team's going to be like, It's a strange. No, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I mean, we don't have any depth, so any more injuries, and we're really in the doldrums, aren't we? But I just think that they've just got a bit about them, Arsenal. If I'm being honest with you,
it's horrible, isn't it?
It's not me being negative. It's not me being It's just realism, man. It's just realism. I watch Arsenal and I think, Jesus Christ. I know last game against Brighton, it finished 1-1. That stupid red card for Declan Rice, which to the letter of the law, he deserved it. But I just look at them and I look at us and I think there's light years, in between us, if you know what I mean. They're at a different stage, obviously, but we're not at that stage yet. We're not at that level. They're a club that had a blueprint, put it into motion, and now they're bearing the fruits from it. We're a club who like to make the fans believe that there's a blueprint, right? But really, it's just chaos. And that's where I'll leave it at. I've got nothing else to say. I don't, there's nothing else I can say, really. That's it.
I agree with Sava. I think, and it's controversial leaving out Doggy, but the reason why I put Van der Ven there is because you spoke about it before, Marlon. The rest defense, meaning in possession, you could go to a back three, which adds a bit more protection and a bit more pitch coverage, because then you've got, as you said, Dragusin, Van der Ven and Romero as a free to spread across the pitch. So if there's any quick transitions, they can cover it, if that makes sense. If there's anywhere, like if we lose the ball, we've got three of them there. Then if we're going to have
a Carl Walker situation, isn't it?
A bit like a Carl Walker situation with Man City, because then you use Porro as a proper fullback / wingback, whatever. You get him in the wider areas, he's whipping crosses into like a Solanke, or if a Richarlison's fit by then, Richarlison comes on, last 20 minutes, he's shithousery. Do you know what I'm saying? He's doing madness and he's trying to headbutt the crossbar. So you kind of want that angry pigeon in the house. So
Can I disagree with you on something? I know you were agreeing with me, but I'm going to just disagree with one thing. I don't think it is controversial to leave out a Doggy. I don't think he's as good as everyone thinks yet. I think he's a young man that has been played in a very alien position to what he's used to. The problem for me is the tactics leave him terribly exposed, and I don't think he's mature enough, seasoned enough to know how to play that position yet. And defensively, I'm not saying it's a bad footballer. I just think he's young and needs to learn. I think defensively, I don't think he's the greatest. And we saw what...
Yeah, defensively, I agree. I think he's raw. He's very raw. He needs to learn. Yeah, I think he needs to learn that position. But I think where his strengths are, and I think where we see him as a weapon, is that kind of ball carrying from that midfield area, kind of from either on the outside, on the overlap, or the underlap, where he can cause teams havoc. But I just think him coming back, and I think Romero as well, they look a bit rusty in my opinion. I don't know if they need a few more games. Even Gordon for me. Gordon is much better than that than Newcastle. He looked rusty to me in that game. I think there's a few players that have come back from that international break. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I'm just saying I feel like there's a few players that like sometimes you're like, oh, Man City starts slow, or there's certain teams that haven't really top teams expect to get have 3 points, and then all of a sudden it gets to October, November, they start pulling away because now there's matches in their legs. They're used to the intensity, the pace, there. And
what about this? What about this? Right. So I heard someone say this earlier. I can't remember who said it. Last time Romero went away with Argentina and won the World Cup, he came back and he wasn't great for the rest of that season. He's just gone away with Argentina and won the Copa America this year. I'm just saying. I think that everyone's bigged this guy up to the point where maybe he thinks he deserves to be at a bigger club than Tottenham Hotspur, and sometimes that can creep in. I don't know. I feel like you're right. Him and a doggy has come back from the injury, sure, but. Yeah. If we had anything about us as a club, we would have signed some really competent backups in the window, and we wouldn't have to be playing a doggy. We'd be letting him actually have his full recovery period.
You know what I think? I think personally, if Ange is seeing that and he's seeing Romero move a bit nuts, he's got to pull him off and say, look, let me pull you off, just like I pulled off Johnson, just like I pulled off Maddison. Remember, Maddison got dropped last season. Remember the Man City game? He got hooked for that. Do you know what I'm saying? For the sake of the team. So I'm saying, right. I know a lot of people don't trust Ange and think Ange, they trust us. They question his character, but there is times when he has switched it up and he's surprised a few of us. And think, wow, he's actually playing Kulu in the midfield. Like, what's going on there? Where no, do you know what I'm trying to say? He's done a few things where I know everyone's like, nah, but he has done it. Like even that game against Newcastle. I honestly thought he was going to put Son in the 9, and he put Kulu in the 9. Not saying that it worked, but at least that he tried something. He was like, "Look, I'm going to try this, and I'm going to start." Perhaps I hadn't started, and he put Sarr in. Do you know what I'm saying? So certain times, it's a bit of hopium. If Romero is acting up, and Ange is that Greek guy that has that no bullshit about him, he says, "Look, Romero, I'm going to have to hook you if you're acting up," and then obviously. You put a Jagustin in. That's if Romero is acting up.
Can I ask you all a question? Can anyone right now sit here and say that they 100% believe with all their heart and their head that Christian Romero will be a Tottenham player next season?
No. I don't. Look, for me, if Real Madrid, look, I think Levy will cash in personally. Like, I hate to go down this road, but it's certain times where you need to make a sacrifice, a sacrificial lamb. And I think we should. I don't think we should, but I'm just saying I think it could happen because, like, we do this thing where we get rid of the deadwood, and we need money to bring players in.
Agreed. We're one of the only clubs who don't do that.
So if we need monies to bring players in, like we're not, because I thought this season, me being a fool, do you know what I'm saying? I thought the stadium was the game changer. Shame on me, innit? I thought I thought when we get the stadium, I'll be patient and we'll get the players.
Silly Ashmatic.
I know. Then I thought, obviously, all this stadium, like, we're doing boxing, rugby, you know what I'm saying? Lowering the wage bill, blah, blah, blah. And I hate to go in this direction. But I'm thinking, boom, we can move for big players. But now, and we've got the FFP and all of that, blah, blah, PSR. So now I thought, all right, cool. Now we've got money to spend, but you have to sell to buy. That's the rule. So with that in my head, who's going to be the one we sacrifice? Probably Bentancur or Basuma, because they've got like 2 or 1 years left. But how much money are you really going to draw?
I don't think either of those. I don't think either of those two draw you big money. I think Basuma's had 2 to 3 very sketchy seasons, and Bentancur's a very good footballer, but the injuries are piling up now. The injuries are, you know what I mean, coming off the back of a year out, then getting out again now and then out again. But you're right. This is what a lot of the other clubs do. Like, I saw lots of people talking about Aston Villa this summer saying, they sold 2 of their best players. Well, if you think about it, Aston Villa have recycled. They've sold 2 big players, got money, and then gone again. You know what I mean? Like, what we don't do, and Kane was the one where we don't ever seem to sell on a player when he's got a good value, because we're as fans, we're all scared of what are they going to do with the money. But putting that aside, if you look at it, you have to say to yourself, we're all very emotionally attached to footballers at Tottenham, and other clubs aren't. Like at Man City, they go, oh, Cancelo, yeah, see you later. What's that? Oh, Zeko's leaving. Yeah, see you later.
They know their club is, the culture is different.
Sure,
they're going to face quality with quality. Do you understand?
Sure.
So that's the reason. But if I'm Bentancur and I'm looking at the North London derby, I'm thinking, right, I should be starting.
Oh, for sure, sure.
If I get left out North London derby, I'm Bentancur. I'm upset. I'll be real. But I don't know. Like
maybe he'll start Graham Bergvall. Our two big summer signings.
Can I just say, Levy, right? For everyone calls him this great businessman, right? I was checking a stat the other day. We signed Ndombele, Lo Celso, Sessegnon, and Clark for a combined 150, and made 10 million from those signings.
This is it. He got burned.
It's mental.
Who did we make money on?
He got
not make money. We got 10 million back from what we paid 150 for those players, and we only made 10 million.
Jack Clark.
Okay, who was that for?
Clark.
I think it was Jack Clark.
Yeah, right. And he's moved recently as well.
And now look at 5 million we had to pay to get rid of Ndombele as well.
Yeah, exactly. And all the wages were paid.
But every year, every year though, fans go. For 5 years, we've heard, this manager could get the best out of Ndombele and Lo Celso. This manager could get the best out of Ndombele and Lo Celso. And we let them get down to the point where they've got 1 year on their contract, and we wonder why we never make any money as a club. It's crazy, man. Crazy.
But again, you go to the other side of the pond, right? And they're selling players like, Nketiah, Ramsdale, all these players, they're making huge profits off these players,
Not Ramsdale, they lost on Ramsdale.
Well, okay, but they sold him for a decent amount, right? They didn't.
They got their value out of them.
But Eddie Nketiah and Smith Rowe was 60 million.
Amazing.
60 million.
Yeah, but this is where you kind of look at it and go, because you have to remember, Arsenal did go through their team. When Aubameyang left, their fans were going nuts. They were. They knew that it had to happen at the time, but their fans were going nuts that Aubameyang had left, and he's never replaced him ever since, if we're being completely honest. Right? Jesus has probably been the closest, but Jesus has had injuries. But if you can get to a point where the manager's system, the board trust the manager and they're willing to go out and spend the amount of money, and you don't go through 5 or 6 managers, and you literally back him to the hill, because that's what they've done. They have backed him to the hill. Right, and they've gone and backed him talent as well. So there's Ange might have spent how much this summer, but you also, a lot of those players they bought in were already made to come in there and then. The Ramsdales at the time, Zinchenko's, the Jesus,
Gabriel Jesus's,
they
Tom Partey, Declan Rice,
So when the Smith Rowes and Nketiah are playing in that team, you can get rid of them for a load of money because people are looking, they've made a contribution and gone, actually, this team is finishing second. That's the reason why they're not getting in. So a lot of teams will look at it.
But Marlon,
it doesn't matter if they're worth it or not.
They were only able to sell those players for that money because they played them as well. Spurs don't play any of our academy players, right? So what happens is they end up going out on loan to really poor leagues, and then we sell them like Troy Parrott for 6 million. Man City and Chelsea are superb at this. Everyone says, they're signing more kids. They bring these players in, send them out on loan to clubs in top leagues. They might have 15 first-team appearances, and then they go, right, 30 million. And you're like, who? Like Man City sold someone last summer for 30 million. I don't think I'd ever heard of him. But Chelsea do it.
But the 2 examples right now of 2 players that if we had actually given them some time in the youth system, that we probably would have got money for eventually, but both of them, one, to be fair, had an attitude issue apparently, and the other one saw no pathway. And that's Madueke and Edwards, right? They both went on later for bigger fees because they went to clubs that trusted them, that they knew they could play first team football, right? So it's a case of, what are Spurs doing here? And this is the big thing, because Skip was the last. Like Skip went for, like, to be fair, he went for decent money, right? But it's kind of now ruined the whole European squad because of it. Because we've got no. I think we're now reduced, I believe, in what we can register in Europe. So there's a massive issue here that there's no pathway into the first team, and we were told 12 years ago when that training ground was built, that was the whole point of it.
But Marlon, all summer, look how many Spurs fans were wetting their knickers over all of our youth players. This is the year they're all going to play. You come to the beginning of the season, nearly all of them have gone out on loan, and the ones that have remained, they haven't got a chance of making that 20-man squad at the weekend. Sorry, I know it's a 25-man squad, but they haven't got a chance of making the bench. You look, Mikey Moore, Spurs have just gone and bought Odegaard, who's now in front of him. We bought Johnson last year, who's in front of him, right? We've got the worst one, the criminal one that I think we can all agree on is we went and bought Timo Werner on loan, right? I think I speak for every Tottenham fan in the world, I hope, where I say now, we'd rather not have Timo Werner on loan, and I'd rather Mikey Moore being given 10, 15 minutes at the end of every game to see what the kid is made of. But he doesn't even make the bench, Marlon.
So it's quite funny you say that. So I think I watched a lot of the what we call the positive YouTubers, right? The people that people want to call positive, right? And this is going to make you laugh.
Am I a positive
right?
YouTuber?
They all said, right, and this was what made me laugh, right? And this is where I think every single person in this fan base agrees, and I'll be very, very surprised if there isn't one. When Timo Werner came on at the weekend, I think every Spurs fan, and apparently it happened in the stadium, went and basically gave up on the game.
As well.
Right? And that just sums it all up, because that was the first signing, and that was the one we all said, if it
set the tone.
An issue, it set the tone.
It set the tone.
Unfortunately, look, Bergvall, right? Because everyone keeps including Bergvall in the summer window, but when he was bought in January, right? So
it's only because he's new, right? It's because he's new.
Yeah. But he to be fair to him, he looks like, out of everyone that we've signed, he looks like he's gonna be something, as long as Spurs do the right thing and have everything in place for him to develop and move forward, right? Only way. Otherwise, he'd be on loan to someone in Holland in the next couple of years, and we will be like, oh.
But you know what, Marlon? The thing that gets me, and I do need to jump in a minute, by the way, but I think the thing that gets me is, I've stated this loads of times, signing Bergvall in January for 10 million looks like it could be really shrewd business. And when you know that player is coming in and you're going into the summer window, surely you say, right, that's our young midfielder that we want to bring in, develop, grow, give minutes, yada, yada, yada. Then Tottenham go out and go, do you know what we need? We need another 18-year-old midfielder that we're going to bring in at the same time to try and develop. Now, if you're going to do that, I would have expected to see Archie Gray go bang, straight out, back on loan to Leeds for a year to get to play one more year in men's football.
For Bergvall to go on loan. I think that was the plan. But obviously, Bergvall impressed so much, they were like,
he's impressed so much that they're not giving him minutes. Like they're giving him 10 minutes. If Bergvall impressed that much, start him above Sarr in the Everton game instead of playing Kulu and Madison.
Apparently, Sarr rates him, innit? Sarr's like, brother's good.
I don't know. I just don't know. I wish I was like Deji. I wish I knew the plan. I wish I saw it. I just look. The last thing I'll say before I go, right. If it is a youth project that everyone keeps telling me it is, if it is a youth project, right, then get rid of Ben Davies in the window. Don't bring in Timo Werner at that age, right? Don't have Ben Forster on your bench. Play Mikey Moore, Bergvall. If I saw it was a youth project where you go, right, okay, 2 or 3 of them are in the team, right, being rotated, cool. It's a youth project. Whether I like it or not, I can say, I see what you're doing. But we're calling it a youth project. You and I, all 4 of us here, everyone in the chat, whether they like to admit it or not, we all know when the lineup comes out, Archie Gray and Bergvall ain't going to be in it. Mikey Moore's not going to be in the squad. We all know that when everyone's fit, that Odegaard is going to be the one that drops out, right? So it's just kind of like, I don't know. I just want to see. I just want to see what the plan is. I keep hearing a plan, but I need to see it for my own eyes before I'm sold into this. It just feels really weird at the moment.
Well, enough, man. You can't really argue with that. I think that's, and also I think my last point is, if people knew it was like, all right, Spurs were going to be in the project, kind of planning process, then the mood would be slightly different. I think the energy would be slightly different. But where Ange has come out and he's saying about, challenging, I think that's where the communication is kind of modeled, in my opinion. I think that's, but if everyone knew from the start, this is a project, it's going to take a few
talked about this.
Then
Ash,
it would be
we talked
different.
about this in our video last week.
Yeah, we did.
We said his words over here. Yeah. He's saying this. The actions of the transfer window are over here. They're not matching up. He's saying winning mentality. I win in my second season. I'm not here for full. I'm here to win things. But then the signings are all saying this is for 3 to 4 years down the line. So it's kind of like, listen, I'm not. Like, people always think I'm angry and upset with a club. I'm not. You guys have known me long enough. I just think it is what it is. I don't expect any change. I think we're going to win some games, lose some games. I think every time we win a game against a big team, people will lose their mind and pretend that this is what the project's all about.
Hold on. Win a game against a big team. So when that happened, I think Liverpool was the last team we beat, right?
We haven't beaten a team in the top half of the table since December. Did you know that?
December 2023, yeah.
December, Aston Villa. Aston Villa is the last top 10 team we beat.
Yeah.
Was it December? I thought we played them in
March. It was March, but if you look at the run between, we'll beat one team.
Only one since December.
Right,
yeah. And if we're completely being honest, none of us knew what Emery was doing that day. It was the one time he changed the whole formation that Villa hadn't played all season. You were like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And just played into our hands. And it was like, it was a brilliant result.
That's what it was, because they come back to Europe.
But Sav's got to go. So
yeah, just quickly, Eugene in the chat has said to me, Sava, you think that Ange is responsible for the signings? That's not consistent with history. Do you know what? Every other manager that's been here, you know me for years. Every other manager, I'll turn around and go, I feel sorry for you because of Levy. Ange has not shut up about these being his signings. Ange talks a lot. Don't know where that came from. Ange talks a lot about these are my signings. I tracked him. I wanted him. He's my signing. So I'm sorry if you're going to talk that game. I'm going to take you at your word. Sorry, can't have it both ways as fans. Can't have it both ways. Because if those players work, they'll go, that was an Ange signing. If they don't work, it will be, oh, Levy signed him. Can't have it both ways.
Classic one, isn't it? It's the classic one.
Anyway, sorry. Thank you. I've really enjoyed it. I've talked too much. Sorry.
Sava, thank you for coming on. You and Deji at the beginning, absolute fireworks. Brilliant. And actually, for the both of you, I think it's probably one of the first time you both streamed together or something. So, I
think maybe second time. Yeah, it doesn't happen.
But it was all, but everyone enjoyed it and everyone in the chat enjoyed it and actually kept it football. Some might have gone a bit personal in the chat, but everyone kept it on football and was on one or the side or the other. But thank you for all the contributions to this channel as well that you've done. And I can't thank you enough for tonight. But yeah, everyone knows where Sava is, Football Heritage TV. Make sure you tune into his content, whether you like it or not, but just, it's about football. And that's how we like to keep it on this show. Thank you very much.
This is like different, man. That's what we want, like a different voice.
Well, the fact that Deji and Sava are agreeing in certain parts, look, it's not.
No, I feel dirty.
Both of you got there in the end, but it is where it is. Both of you kind of, there's that mutual respect because it's all about this club, as Deji says, but we all want it to go in the same direction.
This is all I want. Just to add on, this is all I want. When I message people to and anyone in the chat can come on as well. Anytime I message people, that's what I want, a different perspective, because I want my mind to be expanded. I don't want everyone to have the same opinion, the same view. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's nothing personal if you've got a different view. We want to hear from you. We're all Spurs fans, so yeah, that's it, man. But yeah, make sure you guys like and share and subscribe and all them thing there, you know.
Yeah, big thank you to We Are Spurs TV who sent in the super chat, and I'm going to completely apologise because I can't bring up any of the chats at the moment because my screen is frozen, and it's just 1 minute it's on, 1 minute it's off. So apologies to everyone in the chat where we haven't been able to bring them up. That's the reason why, if you notice, it's suddenly I stopped, so because I can't see them anymore. But thank you to We Are Spurs TV as well for the super chat earlier, which was on the screen for some time, saying that Ange needs a plan B. Has great to see you again.
Likewise. It's a rarity these days, but yeah, I'll just to let everyone know, I'll be back on the screens a little bit more. Hence, you know, me coming on tonight. So yeah, thanks for having me on tonight, guys, and yeah, be back on again very soon.
Yeah. No problem. And I've just seen JJ's put in the chat as well. Ash is one of the best analysts on Spurs YouTube. What? No love for me and has now. Thanks.
Hey, listen, guys, he meant all of us. That's what he meant.
Hey, listen, you should take that, Marlon. He's been gunning for me all night with every comment, so at least he's not having a pop at you, right?
Oh, Sava, you know what? Just reminded me of something. So somebody, when I did my prediction, right, when Marlon and Sava with the predictions of the same person, and I thought, actually, I'm taking that as a compliment because I predicted the draw, we ended up losing. So I went back and just put two eyes and went, well, I got it wrong.
Do you know what, man? This place is a weird place, YouTube. But you know what? I've just looked at my phone for the first time, right? And I've got 420 comments from my show I did at 6 p.m. And I've just read the first three and gone, yeah, let's not read them. Let's go to bed. just honestly, it's just reading it going, Jesus, why are people so mad? Like, it's just crazy. But I thoroughly enjoyed it tonight, guys.
Thank you.
And I'll see you on Thursday.
See you on Thursday, midday.
He charges me. Do you know that, guys? When I go there for lunch, he charges me.
Yeah, I'll get him and I'll give him a hug.
Bills are going to pay for himself, man.
Ask me to the Football Content Awards as well. Has.
I know.
Terrible.
To be fair, this is me asking at the same time. He always sends me home with a nice little cake or something. So.
Always.
I'll see you Thursday, bro. I'll see you Thursday.
But yeah, and big up to all the new subscribers as well tonight. Thank you very much, and everyone in the chat, and also everyone that's come over from Football Heritage TV to come over and watch tonight's show. Thank you very much. The show wouldn't have been able to carry on without you guys as well. But big up to everyone. Make sure you tune in. We're back next Tuesday. Ash has got a show tomorrow with the Rivals, so that will be quiet. And there's Newcastle fans on that, so they'll be ripping into Spurs.
And Man U and Liverpool. Hey, don't forget
like the Liverpool. Yeah, there's a lot going on tomorrow. So make sure you tune into that about 9:30.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, big up to that. Everyone, thank you. But as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.